Hey everyone, we are back. It's the Thursday Night Forum. And I want to say before we get started, big props to everybody who kept the show running while I was away for a few days in Ireland, seeing family. It's important to do that. So thank you, Stan, for doing that Thursday night show.
No problem at all. However, my accountant still hasn't received the monies for that, so we need to talk about that later.
You're becoming the problem employee, Stan. He's
Yeah,
becoming
because
that employee.
you're the only one getting paid here, and you keep boasting about it
It
every
came up because
show.
I get like $500 in one of the shows or whatever it was.
And
You
Gary,
said it, Ray. You typed it. It went across the screen. I give Stan money.
What is it, Ray? The money was just resting in the account.
Just
resting
should
in
be.
the
I'll have to check
it was
with
doing.
my accountant, of course. Yeah. Gary, thanks for taking the last Thursday night show as well.
Yeah, and guess what will happen? You're gonna get a knock at the door. I suggest you just drop the bag, and just drop the bag
Drop
or
the
the
bag.
envelope, whichever one you
Not
got.
not the flaming bag though, right? We know what that's all
You
about.
you don't mess around with these guys.
Yeah.
We've
And,
been the flaming bag the last 3 or 4 weeks. Till Wednesday.
also, Stan and Gary, you've done it before. So Stan, I think, is your second or third time. Gary's done it a few more times, but Matt was debutant last Sunday, and he did a good job as well. So big props to Matt for doing that. He enjoyed it, and we'll probably have him doing it again. One person,
Zero props to Tony.
one person,
Ray doesn't trust him with the keys to the plane.
one person I think we cannot trust the keys to is Tony.
Mate, you'd have nothing to come back to.
Yeah,
Just like flames.
It's like
Flames and fire engines.
talking about scorching the earth and nothing left. Just
look at that
twigs.
smile on his face. He knows it. We know it, right?
I'm a good boy.
Yeah. And look,
Ask Gary. I'm good on Gary's show.
Gary, is he good on your show?
He does all right.
He does okay. Yeah.
He keeps inviting me back every week, so I don't know.
Yeah. And look, we're back again as well. And Stan, it's been a rough terrain the last few weeks. Three losses
Isn't it?
in a
Jesus.
row.
So when was it we last spoke now? I'm trying to remember what was the last game that we would have spoken
Crystal
about.
Palace.
It was the Aston Villa one before the break.
And that's and we haven't spoken.
Was
So
it?
yeah, I mean,
Crystal Palace. We didn't do a show here at Crystal Palace, but a shout out to everybody here who's joined us tonight. So thanks for coming in, everyone. Let us know where in the world you're from again. We do ask that from time to time. But yeah, Stan, it's been a few weeks since we celebrated a win.
well, I'm sure when we were talking about, as we do, we always look at little pockets of games that are coming up and to see where we could get points. I'm sure that we were looking at Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Brighton, and we identified that little clump of games as where we could pick up points. And I think we said something like, maybe in the best case scenario, there's 7 points there, 2 wins and 1 draw.
That was a worst case, Stan.
No, the
was
worst case scenario. I'm sure we said was something like
1 win, 2 draws.
no, 4 points.
Yeah.
No,
we
it
said
was
7.
not.
It was 1 win, 2 draws.
I was saying
think.
9, and you guys are going, no way.
Well,
I thought we
obviously,
said 7. I
obviously,
thought
a
we
best
said-
case scenario is 9.
We started
right?
draw
I mean,
versus
you
Palace
can't,
and 2 wins.
you can't get any more. But I mean, that's where we thought we were going to get some points. I know I certainly did. At least 6 points out of there somewhere. I thought that we were going to get. So to come away from those 3 games with 0. And then looking towards the next game, which was Chelsea, I hold my hands up. I think we said on the podcast, we were talking, we do our picks, our upset picks. And I think I mentioned that I've never really picked the team that's playing Arsenal as an upset pick, but I'm kind of tempted.
Yeah.
I think that was the Southampton game. And we got our asses duly kicked. Chelsea, I gave us nothing. I honestly hold my hands up. I didn't give us anything going into that game, and it didn't help that the day before the match, I was flicking through YouTube, and there was something about Arsene Wenger, and I was watching it, and they brought up his 1000th game against Chelsea, and they showed the big scoreboard with the 6-0 on there, and I went to sleep that night thinking, this could be a repeat of that, a proper humbling, a proper 4, 5, maybe 6 goals. And we only can maybe scratch out 1 goal.
Our biggest concern in that 6-0 win was a mistaken identity of one of our players who got a yellow card, and that was the biggest concern for Arsenal that day. We went away with a 6-0 defeat. BX Gunners in the house. Who are you going to call? Eddie Nketiah. Gary? A win, and Ray starts with the countdown. So, Eddie.
Yeah, going into this game, no, I mean, we're like, well, if Lacazette's out, that means either Nketiah or Martinelli, right? And Nketiah has been offering us nothing. So who would have thought that we would get something? But no, everybody expected to see a similar lineup to what we had last time. Maybe Martinelli would get to start up top, but yeah, didn't expect Nketiah to do what he did. But he does offer everything that he did in the game is kind of what he's been offering to us, except for his product. His final product was really good. I mean, he's had better. I think he's had better opportunities to score in past games, and he's not even come close to what he did today. I mean, the first goal, from the distance that he took that from, he wasn't making shots half that distance before, right? And the energy and assertiveness that he had on the ball when he was inside the box, once again, really good. So I don't know if that's where I was supposed to go too in detail on to what he did there, but Nketiah was the thing. And I know many people said coming into the game they expected to see a better midfield because maybe he would play it safe. And to me, it's not necessarily safe when you put Xhaka and Elneny next to each other. It's probably the most sound midfield you're going to get with the players that we have, right? And that's what I think we needed to have a little bit more control with the midfield and have things calm down there. So I think a lot of people were expecting maybe Elneny to come in there. And for me, it's always the case that he's professional, just like us. Lacazette is, right? They've been playing for a while. They know their role, and they don't typically make mistakes that you're like going, "Oh man, this is just terrible." We just can't have him on the pitch anymore. So it was good to see that pairing work out the way it did. Personally, I think always thought going 3 at the back was a good thing. And I'd like to say hello to everybody in the chat. I didn't say that when I first got. I see Big Gunner in the house. Steve Denham, Mr. Tom, of course, is in here. We're gonna have to get him he's gonna have to change his thumbnail soon to an Arsenal one.
I think you can do a half and half avatar. You can do a half Arsenal, half Leeds one.
He already has about half and half scarf.
Yeah, he definitely loves hanging out with us.
Yes, I instantly thought of Ty. We mustn't forget it has been raining. All right, Tony, we were gifted. We were very much gifted some of those goals, right? But you got to take
the first one. That first one just
got to take those gifts when they're laid out for you. And on Easter, we got to grab some eggs, and we grabbed 3 big eggs against Chelsea yesterday.
Yeah, we definitely needed some luck. We've been playing horrible. Team hasn't been working right. Manager totally getting things wrong. And first 20 minutes, we're gifted a goal. We look pretty good. Or not pretty good, but okay from there on. Chelsea helped us. They had an off game. But it's 3 points. Finally got 3 points.
Yeah, it was a rough all Easter, Stan. With those 3 defeats, I was sure we were going to beat Southampton at least 3-0. Because Chelsea had done something similar to Southampton earlier in the week before, but it didn't happen for us. The goalkeeper had one of those monster games, but I thought we've been talking about filling these gaps in midfield. Partey injury, and we're going to spend some time to give some props to Mohamed Elneny. And also up front, Lacazette. I think we've gone through every striker right now, Stan, from the start of the season with Balogun, Brentford, all the way through Aubameyang, Lacazette, and now Eddie seems to have the starts now.
Well, all I can say is, I wish Eddie had done an interview several months ago. If that's all it takes for him to find his shooting boots, fair play to him. But when it comes to Mohamed Elneny, it surprises me that it's taken so long for us to draw it that well. I always felt that looking at the personnel that we have, if something ever happened to one of Partey or Xhaka, that it would be maybe Elneny that would come in to settle, to keep the ground settled. And if you're doing very well in the game, maybe that's an opportunity then that you take out Elneny and then bring in Sambi Lokonga while, he's riding on a good result, so to speak, rather than the way that it's gone. Because it kind of feels now that a little bit with Tavares and Lokonga that they've been thrown in a little bit and now they've been pulled out again. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, am I not good enough? You don't know where you are. You're not sure where you are in the manager's thinking, where your standing is in the team now, And then you got Tavares and he was pulled back in again. And it's like, okay, I've been pulled back in again because the other options are shit as well. He tried the Xhaka thing, disrupted the whole game plan, didn't put me in. Now he's dragging me back in. It must be difficult for a player to kind of understand where their standing is in the team. But fair play to Mohamed Elneny. I've said it before. If he's only 70% technically of what your other midfielders are, what you do get from Mohamed Elneny is all of that 70%. You get every single last one of that drop. And, contrary to popular belief, I was watching him yesterday and he does pass the ball forward. He does it quite a few times as well. So I'm glad that he got a run out. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the team until the run up to the end of the season, because I think he's definitely earned a spot for the next game, as has Eddie. When you have a good performance, I believe that it should be rewarded.
Yeah. And I think Eddie's minutes, and we'll talk about that as well. Eddie's minutes have been increasing steadily since the Liverpool game. We've been looking back. They've gone from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, 30 minutes against Brighton, and full game against Southampton. And yes, that interview came out, and he said, Gary, that Eddie said he needed games to start showing what he could do.
Yeah. And before I continue to talk about Eddie, I just wanted to say something. I know this Arsenal show and this football show, but I guess I like to say, at least I believe my thoughts are with the Ronaldo family.
Yeah,
they had a loss, a big loss this week, and to the idiots that called up Maguire's house, I think that's also just in poor taste. So that's just not right either. Yeah. So yeah, just I know it's we are playing them this week, but those are things that just
go beyond football, right?
It's beyond football, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And,
so I want to say that first. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to touch on that a little bit as well. It's in my notes here, the Ronaldo tragedy, and he would definitely be excused from not participating this weekend, because there are, as you said, Gary, things beyond the game that we enjoy, the game that we watch, and the team that we watch. So yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, and I guess from what we saw from Eddie, I know we've seen him come in and 10 to 30 minutes snippets throughout the season. I think this is his first start was last week, and then got another one this week. And we definitely see the energy, so we know he's gives us something different than Lacazette does. I think the video to me doesn't really coincide with the fact that he played much better this time. I just think it just happened. He had a good day today. He had a good day. I don't think they were related much. It doesn't for me. He could continue. I would love him to continue doing what he just did. It still doesn't change whether or not I want to keep him or not for next season. I think I think the team might want him to, but I just don't. I don't like when you give people chances and you want to see them do things and then they do it, and then at the end, and then you change your thought process on whether you want to keep them or not.
Yeah.
I kind of feel still. I think we still need to improve in our strikers, whether or not, even all the way down to our third striker. So I don't know if that's good or bad, how people feel about that one, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
Let us know in the chats what you think. Does this open the door a little bit for everybody on Eddie Nketiah? Can he still persuade you till the end of the season? Is he auditioning still to be at the club? in your own minds out there in the chat box.
Arteta still wants him, but
Yeah,
I want to sign him.
from the video, it sounded like he still is looking elsewhere. He wants more playing time. I don't believe he's going to get the playing time he wants with Arsenal. Not based on what we need right now. I mean, I think we need to have 2 solid strikers. I don't think he's one of those yet. He needs more playing time to get there, or at least to build up that. So, yeah, that's my thinking on that. But he had, like I said, he had a really good game. It was good to see him go out there and do that. Like I said, he gives us the energy that we want. We want young players like that up top who can do those types of things. So, I mean, I've even heard people say going forward, maybe Martinelli will get the start up top because of what he can do with, he is a little bit better on, with the ball and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, no, he had a good day. I mean, for me, I was willing to give him man of the match for me because I think of the way he was playing and what he did for us up top. So I think that's what we're lacking. And you know what? Those opportunities don't come unless you're in position to do that. And he was. So I will.
And you have a little bit of pace as well, Gary, to get there.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely, and I think we'll be talking about man of the match as well. And I've got a candidate in mind as well. But yeah, Eddie Nketiah, Tony. Before we dive deep into the game, just roughly, is he auditioning for you? BX Gunner says he needs to go for his career. Can he turn your mind around, Tony?
He's a player that's in the right positions. To me, he's like a Danny Welbeck that doesn't score as much. Just to me, he's not good enough. He's not good enough as a third option. I think Martinelli will be the second or third option next season. We still need 2 strikers. So to me, he's just not good enough. We've got 10 goals from our strikers this season. He's got 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was a complete gift. I mean, you could have made it. Stan could have made it. Gary could have dove down and hit it with his head and made it. But
Gary definitely.
Well, if it was that easy, then I think we would have seen some more from our strikers and stuff. So I would say he did really well on that first ball with all. I mean, the defender comes in right behind him, and he's still able to, contain himself and have the composure to actually put that shot through. So I'm gonna give him his props. He did really good there.
And one swallow does not make a summer, Stan. So I'm gonna wait and see. I'm really hoping this push for top 4. It's down to the final 6 games now of the season. There is goal difference, of course. That's maybe well counted. We'll give Tony some props for pushing the goal difference thing a few weeks ago. But Stan, where do you stand on Eddie Nketiah?
There's nothing that I would love more than have a striker come through, the academy and get into the first team. There's nothing I would love more. But when I listen to some of the narrative of the Eddie Nketiah interview, and it's give me game time. If I get game time, then you'll get something more out of me. I always feel that in the time that he's been at Arsenal, that he has had opportunities. I mean, if you look at the 2019 season, he had 13 appearances in the Premier League, and he started 7 of them. He started 7 of them, and he only got 2 goals, no assists.
Yeah.
And I look at some of his other seasons, and 2020, 17 appearances, 4 starts, 2 goals. He does get opportunities, but for me, he's never really seemed to grab them. He's got a goal in there somewhere. He's shown you that he can do that. And I'm really happy for him that he's run he's got a good run of form, hopefully now to the end of the season. But I'm not putting all my chips on him.
And look, I'm fine if he wants to move in the summer. I'm fine with him doing well for us, scoring 5-6 goals, whatever he's going to get until the end of the season, hopefully.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing on top of that.
From that. Yeah,
I was gonna say one thing on top of that. That this is what I've said. I think I've said this before, or maybe somebody else has, but I definitely think I've said it as well. But the young players on our team keep showing the older players on this team, the ones that have been around, and what to do. Right? Last year, We needed to see better finishing from Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka, both sitting on 10 goals. We needed to be able to have somebody who could come off the bench with limited time and provide some spark and maybe even get some goals. Emile Smith-Rowe, what, 3 or 4 games in a row he came on and scored.
Yep.
And that's Eddie's had more opportunities to do that because we all, as many times as we complain, oh, who's going to come on? I hope it's not Eddie, and it's Eddie. You're like, he's not. So they've had examples of what to do, and the youth are the ones showing us, and that's part of our problem. So keeping Eddie would not help us in the sense that we need more senior players, more seasoned players, more veterans, players with the stats that back up, what we need. We need goals. So, yeah,
Yep.
I think that's kind of where I want to go with that.
Let me just say, Brownie, go check out Brownie's podcast. He did a great interview with Warren Barton, and we do give him some shit over here, but he does some good stuff out there, right, Stan?
Yeah, he does. I've not seen that one yet. I see the Carlton Palmer one. There's a Carlton Palmer one on there.
I'll watch it if he gives me some doggy coin or Bitcoin. Or if my Twitter feed starts showing. I never get YouTube notifications, or not my YouTube, but when they post videos, when they go live, it never pops up on my Twitter anymore.
I think that thing's.
I get stupid ads, I think.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, just lastly, I just wanted to say, I've always kind of felt that he, within the Arsenal squad, is a third string striker who's fighting and battling to become the second string striker.
Yeah.
And if he wants to continue to have that profile at Arsenal, which means that he has to work hard to continue to go up the ladder, I've got no problem with that. But it sounds like he wants more guarantees of playing regular. I mean, the story that he told about going to the German team, did you hear that bit? I can't remember what the team was. What was the name of the team?
Augsburg.
Augsburg.
Because I actually lived in Augsburg for a summer.
So I mean, he sat there in their office, going to sign a contract to be on loan after speaking to Unai Emery only 24 hours earlier about this move. And he said that he got a phone call earlier in the day that he didn't recognize the number from, so he didn't answer it. And in the meeting, his phone rang again and he decided to answer it. And it was one of the coaches telling him that he had to quickly speak to Unai Emery, that they were short up front for that position and that he couldn't go through with the loan deal. And goes, I'm literally sitting there and goes, and they've got my shirt on the table, number 9, Nketiah. And I'm literally got a pen in one hand and the phone in the other hand. And he had to cancel his, loan. And he's like, when's the next flight back from Germany then? It wasn't until the next day. And they're like, so would you still like to have a look around the stadium while you're here? It was quite embarrassing. But this shows you these kind of things that do go on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then he still wasn't wanted and utilized. So after,
I think 3 appearances.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, all the players that we've brought back, and we've absolutely done nothing for them, right? And Maitland-Niles a couple of times, right? And a couple of times he's been on the way out, kept him, and he's a young player. He deserves more playing time. Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of chopping and changing. Even Callum Chambers was flavor of the month this time last year. Running up and down. He's still running up and down at the London Stadium against West Ham in that 3-3 game. Moved on famously to Aston Villa. So strange indeed. Stephen said, nope, I would rather start Pepe or Martinelli as a striker over Eddie. Pepe or Martinelli would have done the same, if not better job than Eddie, in my opinion. I feel like Pepe and Martinelli are wingers and should play either left or right and not centrally.
Eddie's always in the right position. He just kind of doesn't finish it as much as he should.
Yeah. So real quick before we get on to the goals then and the fun in the game, I just want to talk about Elneny again real quickly, Stan, and go around Gary, Tony as well. I do feel Lokonga was struggling a little bit, and this is what an experienced player can give you. Somebody who will come in and steady the ship, have that experience if the game's not going their way, like the first half. it didn't phase him. It didn't phase Elneny too much.
I don't understand how he gets so much pelters. You know, I don't know. It's almost like he's unfashionable. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because he cost us so little
Yeah,
financially,
yeah,
but I think he's a solid squad player. And this team rebuild that we're doing, I think he's one player that needs to be kept around. He seems to have a great temperament. He knows his lane. He doesn't seem to cause too many problems about I'm not getting enough minutes. When we do need to call upon him, he's dependable. I think he'd be somebody great to have around to help Lokonga continue to ease in. He's not going to save us. He's not the answer to our woes. But if we're going to be in the Europa League and we're going to go to some place called whatever carrier bag that we can't even pronounce and don't know where it is on the map, I'll only be quite happy to go there and do a job for us.
yeah. Europa League or possibly higher. We'll see what happens. It's really going to be nip and tuck through the season, the rest of the season here. Gary, quick word on Elneny. I know we're banging on a little bit about him, but he really, for me, he stabilized midfield, and I think you mentioned that already, Gary.
Yeah, no, like I said, him and Jacques in the middle did really well, and he did really well in this last game in terms of moving the ball forward. I've complained about him passing the ball backwards because he doesn't want to take the risk, but he did really well in this game. We didn't look like we were passing it back for the wrong reasons. I mean, for me. Like a lot of the other players around those two were having poor days as far as their passing and passing backwards more than often. If you look at it, I mean, we had a lot of loose passes and they weren't coming from the midfield. They were coming from places that we needed to play much better. So I kind of feel like we got 4 goals, and if we were playing anywhere better in terms of our passing, we probably would have done a lot better, had a little more comfortable win there, and not even needed the extra goals that they gave us based on the way we were playing. So yeah, no, those Elneny did that. As Stan said, he gives you a maximum of 8, a negative on a bad day. He's giving you a 6 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's his range. He's not going to be that outstanding. And if he gives you an 8, usually it's not in 90 minutes. You know what I mean? But when he plays a full game, you're definitely going to get a 7 out of him, because then you're not going to have too many negative things to say about what he does out there. So it was good to see him out there. And him not playing is the reason why I always feel like we need rotation. And the question, the statement that's always posed is, well, we're not playing every week. I don't think it matters. When players sometimes need to rotate, and this team definitely has needs of doing that because we don't have the depth. If you have the depth and you have the quality of depth, and and you have quality in certain positions on the pitch, you don't have to rotate, right? Because you have the quality. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have the depth.
If you're looking at an experience with Arteta, and look, he's 2.5 years into the job. He is learning, I believe, every week, and this is the experience he needs to gain, Gary. Dealing with a thin squad, understanding who you need to rotate in, who you need to rotate out, and suspensions and injuries will cause you to need these squad players. I think that's something Arteta has faltered with over the last few weeks. He went back to the famed Granit Xhaka playing left back. We bought a left back who play him in the scenario where Kieran Tierney gets injured. So I think these are the situations that Arteta is still coming to grips with, I think, in some ways as well, dealing with the squad as a whole and how to rotate that.
And he can't be. For me, you can't be thinking like, okay, I want top 4. I want to get into Europe next year. If you're not already thinking about, rotating your players, because you're going to have to do that, and it's going to be even tougher when you do get into Europe.
Yeah.
So it has to be something you're doing today. So you're not trying to, like, for me, I always feel like we're waiting until the next time we have to actually do it. No, you should be doing it today. Rotating players is a need. Knowing when your players need to come out of the game because they're not performing. I don't care what they're doing in practice right now, because I don't think practice is translating to the game. Because we see players coming in that are supposedly practicing well, and we see them on the pitch, and we're like, and then we hear players that are practicing really well, and they don't get to play. So it doesn't, that's what he's telling us. So I can only believe what he says. So
I think I believe until we have a squad that's strong in depth and strong in desire. Look at Liverpool; they've got it all over in every position, but they have that tenacity and desire to win each and every game. And I don't think, obviously, we don't have that right now.
Yeah, I just say one more thing because we talk about Elneny, and I always feel like the same could be said. I know everybody talks about, oh well, it's good that we don't have Luis on our team anymore, and I'm like, I don't think that's actually a positive because he brings us stuff that other players don't. And I'll
rather had him than Rob Holding.
I'll say that I'll say that all the time. That I think Luis gave us some things that we're not getting from anywhere on our back line because he not enough. No.
Yeah. I noticed in the last couple of games. Okay, David Luiz is not there, but Ben White is essentially his replacement. And Ben White's been doing some David Luiz things in the last couple of games. The Southampton one, he's on the ground, he gets up real quick, and he doesn't know whether he's going to do one or the other. And the same thing happened for one of the Chelsea goals. But, Tony, Elneny?
I don't know where he's been since AFCON. He should have been on the pitch.
Yeah.
To me, I'd play him and Sambi instead of Saka. But we've went on about him. We all admire him. There's really not much more I can really add to him. He's a solid player. You definitely would keep him because we need so many players. Arteta hasn't incorporate academy players that we need to. There's no way we can sign 10 to 12 players we need for full depth we need. If we're to be in Europe, try to do the domestic cups in the league. We're way short on quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's always. It doesn't matter how long he sits out. He always comes in, gives all he can. Never really makes. I cannot stand. Can you really think of one major mistake he's made? I can't.
Who? Elneny?
No, he doesn't lose games for you.
No.
I can't think of one he's ever made.
No, he's not gonna create problems for you, but he's just not gonna create a lot of positive plays for you either. Sometimes. And those are the plays where those are the risky. I don't think they're risky, but those are the forward passes that he won't even. I don't even think he sees it or he doesn't want to take them. So
he doesn't lose games for you. He stabilizes, and I think he's that teammate that adapts his game to what's needed within the team. If his partner's not working in midfield, he compensates for them, and I think he chips in with a couple of goals as well. Brownie said, can Arsenal get rid of anyone if the squad needs more depth? We do definitely have a couple of candidates for the shitbag 6 still, and there's always going to be need for trimming down a little bit. Arsenal.
Think about it. If you look at our bench, right?
Yeah.
He's not playing everybody on our bench. He has no intention to play a lot of the players on our bench.
The young players.
With that in mind,
next year though.
With that in mind, he's going to have players that he wants to play, which means some of the players on the bench will have to go because he's not playing them.
So
Case in point, Pepe.
The prize right now, Pepe, exactly. The prize right now is top 4. So, Stan, first goal, Eddie Nketiah. There's a great release ball out from the back, and Eddie. This is what Eddie has that maybe Lacazette doesn't have: the pace to chase down a defender and get through.
I mean, just before that goal, which was just after the 12th minute, before that, when the game first started, I was quite panicking because I think Alonso had a shot on the 3rd minute that went a little bit wide, and then I think there was one where ESR was caught in possession, and Lukaku took a shot, and that went wide as well, and that was in the first 10 minutes, and I was thinking, oh no, here we go, and just as I was getting into panic stations, Eddie Nketiah made the most of a Chelsea mistake. And I have to say that for a lot of that game, there was a lot of sloppiness in passing from both sides. And I think that a couple of the goals were gifted by each side were, they gifted the opponent their goals. I'm not saying that the goals were bad or poor, but they were gifted by some real bad mistakes. And I think, as much as I'm glad that we won, I think that we were helped a little bit along the way, that they were as sloppy in possession as we were at times.
Yep. Show me a goal is scored. I'll show you a defense that is let that happen somewhere.
That's
somehow.
not true every time. At some point, the offense is much better than the defense. It has nothing. So it can't always be that it's a mistake, right? It can't be. That can't be.
Roll the tape back. I'll find a mistake somewhere.
No, there's no mistake. No, sometimes the team is really good,
Yeah.
and no matter what you do as a defense, you just can't keep up. I mean, that's just. I mean, like individual brilliance has nothing to do with being a bad defender, right? Henry made people look really silly, right?
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with poor defense. It just, you know what? This guy is really good.
Yeah.
At some point, the offensive player is just better than you, and you got to live with that.
Why not is in. Big up the gang. Ray, Tony, Gary, Stan, papering over the cracks. Listen, it might be papering over the cracks, but if it puts wallpaper on the wall, and it may pay for, if we get in Champions League, it may pay for some nice, shiny new players to make us better next season. Gary, do you think Sarr maybe could have taken Nketiah down?
If he wanted to get a red card, yeah, he could have. Well, you know what? The fact that VAR was going to play a part in that decision, most likely, would have been the best thing for them, because they probably weren't going to get a red card, because they did some really, they put in some really hard fouls, and they didn't get anything for them. I mean, we're lucky Cedric still has an ankle. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Mason Mount.
Yeah. No, I he could have bumped him or something like that, but it was pretty clear as day that would have been a red card, easy, right? So, and Nketiah did really well. He was able to tip that ball just enough to put it in the right spot,
lift it over the goalkeeper's legs. Yeah,
we've seen those type of situations before, and typically that pass, that little touch, goes just a little bit too far, and the goalkeeper was able to come up and stop it, right? So he was everything about that. He worked the Christensen, put enough pressure on him that he had to rush that pass, and voila, there he goes, off to the races. So you love to see it. Yeah.
What I really enjoyed about that particular goal the most is that I have seen us give away goals like that so many times, with a lackluster back pass that isn't going to the defender.
Actually,
or the
one of Arteta's first games, remember that 2-2 draw where David Luiz puts Mustafi put David Luiz in a situation?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
There was a lot of those kind of lackluster back passes that didn't have any purpose on them. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you're a goal down. So I enjoyed getting something like that back,
Yeah.
And the fact that we were able to take advantage of it is perfect, because we don't usually do that. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
Three losses on the bounce. So we needed some kind of something.
Lacazette wouldn't have got there, would he? Lacazette wouldn't have.
They wouldn't have.
He would have stopped, got his phone out, got up his Uber account, and gone, right, I need a cab to come and help me to follow this ball. That's you know what I mean? There's no way Lacazette would have got to that.
Yeah.
Well, that pass wouldn't have been made, because Lacazette would have been in midfield and not going down the sideline.
Yeah.
For somebody to actually make that pass, because I forget who made it. Was it who's on the left side there?
Could have been Xhaka, could have been Holding. Maybe not Holding, didn't come on till later.
No.
Why not said they gave us gifts of 3 goals and 3 points. LOL. No. And usually, and that's true, usually we are the Santa Claus club.
Yeah.
We had Brighton come to town, we had Southampton come to town, needing goals, needing wins.
Yeah. Everything about that game is kind of what happened in the previous 3 games. We were supposed to come out of those games with points, with wins. The other teams were playing without some of their players. We were playing without some of our players, and you know what? The game, you turn it around. That's kind of what we did there.
We took advantage a little bit as well, Gary, of them winning the FA Cup semi-final. They're into the final. little bit of celebration.
Everybody was laughing at us when those things happen to us, and then when we get them, it's worse. You know what I mean? So it's
you got an easy goal. You got a gift. Like,
yeah,
well,
but it's like did you not watch the last two games?
yeah.
That's basically how they scored. I mean,
We're not in a position where we can hand out gifts anymore. I'm looking at the last 6 games, and we'll talk about that. But I think we need to win 4 of these.
Just on a note of gifts, it's even worse if you're in that situation, and let's say Lacazette had been on the pitch, and that back pass is made, and he does get to the ball. He's used all his energy there. When he takes the shot, it's weak. It's a piss weak shot that the Gav. Do you know what I mean? And just looking at, even though I don't think Eddie Nketiah is the answer, it's the energy. And the thing about this game, and I know that we're going to come to it a little bit later with the Man U game, they don't like to be run around. They're walking at the moment. They like to stroll. And we need players that are going to give them energy. If we give Man United some energy and a bit of vim about them, we could get something out of that game.
Yeah.
But I'm jumping ahead.
You are jumping ahead seriously for about an hour from now ahead. But that's okay. BX Gunner said Cedric was at serious fault for not making a simple pass that would have been another goal. There's something up here. Stephen obviously says we need to pack the sloppy play in because you can see United punishing us because of it. And Ramsdale has been dropping in for slowly week after week. He's been making mistakes. He needs to shape up.
Yeah, but he did wave at the Chelsea crowd. Do you know what I mean? And we love that. We love that about Ramsdale, the cheeky chappy. So gets a pass.
He does like to push it. All right. So Eddie Nketiah 1-0 up Arsenal. Tony, you're just back in time to get your word in on Eddie. The dog's having you run around.
Yeah, neighbor's puppy pissed in a quarter, so I had to spank him for it.
Release the hounds.
What about Eddie?
That first goal. So well taken. Once he got past Sarr, well taken. Just lifted over the goalkeeper's legs and back into the corner from where he came from.
Yeah, he's in the right position. Good pass. Good shot. Nice gift from them, though, to start where he was. But
then,
it's nice to finally see him get a goal.
Arsenal being Arsenal, Tony, we don't hold on to the lead very long.
Nope, they're right back in it.
No. Not only that, but Nketiah is the one that kind of starts that.
Yeah.
With a kind of a weak pass back to
Saka.
Yeah.
Do you know when I saw that, right? I tweeted out the Eddie giveth and the Eddie taketh away.
Exactly.
Very biblical. Stan.
Yeah.
But Granit Xhaka tries to get back and cover for the mix-up, but I thought a weak deflection off of his leg. And do you criticize Ramsdale for not getting to that, or maybe have a look at that anyway?
Well, I mean, he's vulnerable to the to the small side of the goal that he gives up. I mean, a lot of the goals come from there, no matter what. Whether it's he has an opportunity to stop or in this case a deflection that goes in there. So if he's going to give up a goal, it's going to be to that near post where he's and I think in that case he actually had Holding standing in front of him, basically just blocking the view. So I think if Holding steps up into that, he might actually deflect it again, and maybe
he's unsighted, right, Gary?
Yeah, I think he's stepping away. I think he's stepping to the far because he's thinking he's probably going to try to go to the far corner, and then he probably sees him kind of creep and then tries to go back, and that's when it goes between the legs of Xhaka. So. Yeah.
The Arsenal Misfit makes a good point here. Thanks for stopping by, Arsenal Misfit. Our biggest problem right now is that we cannot break down well-drilled, compact defensive teams. We're good against clubs that are more open, like Chelsea and Spuds. Hopefully, coming up later in a few weeks, we should be Man United.
Also, we're not patient enough. We kind of rush things, or we dribble right into the defense when we should be, taking what they give us. I say it all the time. We don't do that. The defense wants to stay in a kind of that formation, and you got to move the ball around a lot quicker and get them moving, and then you can attack. But we don't do that. So you got to be patient.
So can I just ask? I know that maybe some of you are maybe thinking it. I know I am. And the question I'd like to ask is anybody concerned with Ramsdale's form at the moment?
No.
The entire defense form has been off. So
I-
Yeah.
I
has
would
he
give
been?
Leno a go at it since he's at leave anyway. Might as well give him a.
How many goals have we conceded recently? That's Chelsea and
Too
Three,
fucking many.
Southampton.
three,
That's
Man,
one.
5.
understand.
3, 2, 1, 2.
Goals in the last
So,
8 goals in
goals.
the last 4 games.
Yeah, 8 in the last 4.
That's too much,
Yeah, it is.
especially when 3 of those teams are below you on the table.
Because that was one area that I felt for a period of time that we'd really sort of tightened up was our defense, right? I always felt that was a leaky part of our game, and I felt that we kind of had that taken care of. But as Gary says, that to me that sounds like too many goals. Are we concerned about Ramsdale, or is it the defense as a whole unit which is causing the goalkeeper too much for him to be doing too much?
It seems like it's happened ever since Tierney's been
Are we
gone.
seeing Ramsdale's level because he's been put under a lot of pressure now? I don't know. I mean, I'm just
Well, think about what's happened, right? I mean, we had the injury in the in the Crystal Palace game. Tierney's out, and then eventually Partey's out.
Partey.
Then the horrible experiment, right? Which basically
experiment. I like
Going
that.
back,
the horrible
yeah.
experiment was just killed our midfield
back in
and our
time.
back line. So bang, that goes. Then we finally decided to go with a what should have been the original approach for having our team set up, and I think it took a while for the team to get sorted there. That goal, freak goal, we had multiple opportunities to put something in, put somebody in front. I think, you can go with White, you can go with the ball almost going out of bounds. I forgot who that was. And then Ramsdale also wasn't able to get a good hand on it.
Edneny.
Right. So just 3, we had opportunities to stop it. So, and then this one, I think it was a big game, and I think we might have come out a little bit nervous. And that's why there were sloppy passes, but also the pitch was a problem, right? Tuchel said Tuchel said the pitch was terrible.
Fine. Come on.
That's his home field. If
We played on the same pitch, we were right.
but we played the same way.
Yeah, there
was
a
passes,
big
right?
slip, that Saka
We had
slip.
we had 2 slips in I think, because think about it. Emil Smith-Rowe slipped when he probably had an opportunity to maybe put a cross in, and Xhaka slipped when he could have got back to the ball, right? Those are 2 balls in the box, right?
Last year,
the football was overpumped. The football was overpumped for that match.
I'm just going by what the man said who won he won a Champions League last year. So I kind of feel like he might understand how this thing works,
All managers have excuses for all manners of things.
His team set up 5 goals in that game, and I appreciate him for that. I mean, that's
what
they want to do.
They're trying to tell us that their sanctions are so bad that the groundsman has no longer got a big steel roller just to roll it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? That's gone. The roller's gone.
5 goals for Chelsea.
Roller.
5 goals for Chelsea, and they were so nice to hand 3 of those to us as well.
Yeah, I think also in terms of the defense, you let Maitland-Niles go, you let Chambers go, you let some of your depth go on your defensive side. So this is the depth that we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
we know Tavage, and we know Sambi are not backups for this team. They're 3rd string right now. The way that they're playing and maybe the way they've been vetted into this team, they just don't have the amount of minutes that they need to be valid squad players for us.
Yeah, and I think our need with these next 6 games is experienced players who've been there, done that. I hope Elneny is persevered with. I hope we've seen what Eddie can do, so he should get another chance as well against United. Why not said, to be honest, I don't know where Eddie got the confidence for his celebration with 0 Premiership goals at the time in 15 plus appearances. Seems like rational confidence, but if you're doing it in training, those finishes, Tony, they seemed like
you didn't just say training. This is where he gets that confidence from his training, but he goes out there into the real world and he can't produce.
I think Gary, in this situation,
that means Martinelli's a hat trick because he made 4 in training today.
Well, I think in those situations, Eddie didn't have time to think, and maybe that's his problem, Gary. When he has time to think, he can't make the right choices and make the right shot. Tony's waiting for me to get to this next one. Right, Tony? Ray, with 6 games to go, we conceded as many goals as last season. Was that £90 million on defence worth it? Yes, I've been thinking about this. Do you think we've upgraded with Ramsdale in the goalkeeper position? Yes.
I don't think so. I think
do.
it's pretty much a wash.
I think we upgraded with Ben White over David Luiz. Definitely.
I don't think as much as you believe that. No.
Firstly, on the goalkeeper,
Is he that much better than Sambi would have been?
We have a goalkeeper for the next 4 or 5 years. I think David Luiz has been just as good as Ben White has been this season, and we needed to upgrade in that position. We needed to replace a player. And
is White that much better than Saliba?
Who? Yeah, well, Saliba. That's a moot point. Right.
There we go. That's a mute point.
That's a mute point, Tony.
Leave it.
So it comes back to haunt him sooner or later, doesn't it, Gary?
Can I just say something because you're talking about the defense? I remember, well back when we were making some of these early signings like Gabriel and Ben White, I was concerned that I can remember saying on this podcast, who is it that's helping them along? These players are good individually. Tierney's a good player individually, as is White, as is Gabriel, blah, blah, blah. But they're still for me, they're still at an age where they still things for them to be learning in their game. And I'm just a little bit concerned of who it is that's helping to bring them along during games. And there's been a few times now I've seen Ben White on his arse quite a bit out of position, and I think to myself, there's certain games where who is it that if Ben White's having a bad game, who is looking towards to guide him? Gabriel, good player individually, but he's still learning, right? And vice versa.
Yeah, I always remember Tony Adams helping his central defender.
We keep talking about this team needing some players 24 and up that can provide some of that leadership that we need, and not necessarily like leadership rah or captain, but also like leadership. And this is how Arteta wants us to play. And this is what you need to do, and this is how you go about doing it. I mean,
can someone like Elneny
I'll say it all the time. Luiz showed the team how he wanted his center backs to play. I mean, I think it's the Everton game. I bring it up all the time. He wanted somebody out of the back on that back line to be able to pass the ball when they played a deep block, right? And he's able to do that.
Don't get me wrong, though. David Luiz was a warrior and played well in many, many games, but he was prone to red cards on the stage.
That means nothing. That means absolutely nothing because our leader on our team right now is prone to red cards, still plays. So you cannot bring that up ever again because
it's a new point, Ray.
One of our leaders on our team does exactly that.
And you know what?
He's not as. I don't think he does.
Did you have? Stan had something. Sorry.
So when a lot of people have been asking, I've seen people on Twitter and they've been tweeting stuff like, "How can we, not get any points at Southampton, Palace, Brighton, and then go and do what we did at Chelsea?" And the answer is, it's because of the profile that we have. You're going to have inconsistencies. You're going to have. I honestly don't believe that Saka, ESR, Martinelli, and maybe even to an extent Odegaard are at a place yet where taking out FA Cup games, Europe games, and League Cup games, they still should not be playing all 38 games in a season. That's as much as we like them, they're not at that place yet. They should be taken into the team, taken out, but we don't have those other players who are going to be in there when they're not in the team. We've overburdened these players, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed seeing them. And they're great talents, but they're being overburdened. And that's the reason why you get results at some of the results that we've had where you think, why can't we didn't get nothing out of that? Because you get days where it's not just one man's having a bad day. There's like 3 or 4. And there's no one on the team. And the person that you're looking for is Lacazette. I mean, Lacazette was he was just about getting by with the skin of his teeth, about doing everything but other than scoring goals. Now he's not even making runs to the near post. So he's playing with 10-minute times,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are saying, well, we had to go back to the well of Nketiah, Holding, and Elneny, where they're still squad players. Why can't we use them? They're on the payroll. You know,
Yeah.
Isn't it good to have players that, when called upon, they can come in and actually be, make a contribution. We've seen Rob Holding a few times now, come in this season and shore the game up.
He's been good this season. He's been good.
So the point I just wanted to make there is the answer to the reason why we have some of these anomalies in our results is that it's the profile that we have. And I truly believe that if Lacazette goes, and let's say Elneny goes and Xhaka goes, those three players, they can't all be replaced with players who are somewhere between the ages of 20 and 23. Then you look at our squad, where there still needs to be a couple of heads in there, big heads in there that have been around a little bit, and that can help when there's a game and it's going a little bit tits up, that they can pull you up a little bit by the socks and guide you along. I think we're missing that.
Yeah, and why not also makes that point as well. David Luiz wouldn't lose to Nottingham Forest or allow the team to lose. And I think we have a lot of players who are the same age, and we don't have the characters who want to gather many of them up. Maybe Odegaard's that player, but he hasn't really assumed that role yet either.
Can I say something about... Sorry, Gary, go on.
And I was just going to say... I guess I've said it before. I'm just saying our age, those players are too young and they won't last. Like for me, if we're going to make that step, they shouldn't play as many minutes next season. If we are really making that step, one, because they should be rotating a lot more, and two, we should hopefully be getting better players in to not necessarily take their spot, but so that you can rotate them in and out of the game without losing much. I mean, I was looking at it the other day. Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka, and they're like two of the youngest players in the top 100 players or goal scorers in the world. And we don't have anybody else on our team with them.
No.
Nobody else with our team is in there with them, and that's just not the way you're building a team that's going to last, right? Erdegaard, he might be a captain for Norway, but I don't think he's necessarily ready to be a captain for a Premier League team. I mean, not yet. I mean, the things that we asked him to do, I think right now he needs to work on his game. I mean, he still hasn't really been in a situation where he's coming in actually playing every day for his club. So how in the world is he going to be a captain? It's just we're asking these guys to do too much. Mm-hmm. And they shouldn't need to do. You shouldn't need to do that when you're Arsenal, so you should be able to go out there and get what you need, right? Mm-hmm. You're throwing money to get people out of the club. You've got to throw some money to bring some players in as well. So that's kind of why. Sorry, Stan. I know you had.
What did you have, Stan?
Just what you mentioned about Martin Odegaard, the game where he was captain. I made an interesting observation because he's a player that I adore. I like Martin Odegaard. So glad that we managed to get him. And he's a player that I thought could be maybe a candidate moving forward as a permanent captain. But that game where he was captain, I think
he was captain this game too.
Well, it wasn't this game. The one before, I think it was. And it was the one where Cedric, he took a free kick and he totally ballsed it up. And they got another free kick.
Southampton.
And Odegaard's there and Cedric's there, and I thought, and Odegaard didn't show any captaincy at all.
Yeah,
he basically bought into what Cedric said, walked away, and let him take another free kick. That's where he should have said, "No, mate, listen, you've had a go. Do you know what I mean? Now it's up to me. Now I'm going to have a go." And he takes a better free kick anyway. He takes a better free kick anyway. And I was a little bit like, you had a chance there to flex on captaincy and override that, and you buckled.
Stan, if you take that free kick like Cedric, do you really want to take the next one? Did you see where it went?
Yeah.
Do you really want to take the next one?
Huh? Cedric must get bonuses for free kicks, and that's why he wants to take them all. On the off chance he gets one in. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I thought Martin Odegaard there had a good opportunity to be a captain. Right, and take a little bit of leadership there, and he buckled.
There's no right now with 6 games to go in the season. There is no clear captain candidate that most of the Arsenal fan base would get behind. We seem quite divided on that front, but we'll see what happens next season. Why not said he'll take Elneny. Holding is somehow better than Ben White as a defender. And Gary, thinking about Holding and combining him with Bellerin gives me flashbacks to White Hart Lane last season.
Well, yeah, well, that's the problem we've had.
Combined with Bellerin.
Yeah, we've had like players, surrounded by players that are either at or below their level, and it just hurts everybody. I mean, that's why when we were healthy, nobody really too much concerned about Xhaka playing in the middle of the pitch, right? Because we were playing on all cylinders basically, and everybody on that team looked really good playing the way we did. So, and that's what happens, right? We need more of that. We need like another 5 or 6 players at that level, so we don't drop off when we go to the bench. So, yeah, no, I definitely agree on that one.
Mr. Tom always brings us exclusive. Cedric's free kick has finally landed.
Yeah, Partey gave a thumbs up on that.
Is that where it landed?
Tony, 1-0, 1-0, 1-1 actually. We're at 1-1. We're at the Emile Smith Rowe goal. And this was an assisted by Erdegaard. But some lovely play. Was that the one with Granit Xhaka nutmegging someone inside the box?
Yep.
in the penalty box, wasn't he? Nutmeg someone.
Yeah, Conte had to go around him, the wrong way around him to get to him. He couldn't get to him. And I think there was a little bit of a malaise in the Chelsea team. The Conte just sort of gave up outside the penalty area. The move went forward to Saka, Erdegaard, and the Emile Smith Rowe's got that daisy cutter right into the corner.
It was a good team goal. Kind of another one that kind of gifted us there, I think.
You think they gifted us that goal?
Yeah.
No.
What?
That wasn't one of the 5 that Tuchel was talking about.
That's the only goal that actually made any sense. Like, that's looked like per football.
Tony Tickle, get it right.
Tony Tickle, come on.
Whatever that guy's name is down there in the bottom.
It's played out from the back.
You're right. Nutmeg.
You think that's a gift? If that's a gift, then damn. How in the world does how does Man City get any goals? Because they must get gifts all the time because they look eerily similar.
Tony, if you think that's a gift, I ain't coming around your gaff for Christmas.
Nick is right here.
Get a fucking tangerine and a pair of slippers. Cheers, Tom.
Not even there, and they're worn. They got your toes is sticking out. I mean,
Aspilicueta would go on to have a bad game, and this was the start of it. Stan, nutmeg from Granit Xhaka. Highlight reel for Granit Xhaka's summer transfer this coming summer. Right.
That's got to add a couple of million to the fee, surely. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think we can swing that? You think our team can do that, Gary? Add a couple of million onto the Granit Xhaka. We're up to 16 million now for Granit Xhaka.
See, that's what we could have got from him last summer. So what the fuck? Should have got rid of him then. Lazy Arsenal.
Anytime we pay a player more to stay to manage their worth or whatever they call it, keep their value, we always lose, and then we'll just be paying them to leave. I mean, if he wants to, if he's staying, he should be coming off the bench. That's all.
Hey, he needs to go. 130 grand a week. Nope. No, thank you.
Can I say that even at that point, right? It's 2-1. It's about what 26 minutes or something like
26
that.
26 minutes, yeah.
Both teams were still giving the ball away. It could at that point.
It was that kind of game, though, Stan. Right?
The TV, you're like anything could happen. Yeah. Any minute. Because and we were doing some good stuff where we'd work the ball up the pitch, and you're just going to make that last pass, and it would get cut out, and then the ball would come all the way back down the other end of the pitch. Same thing.
Stan, do you think this is kind of the way we need to play? Abandon. I'm
not sure, but my heart can take that for
6 more games
to the end of the season. It was like Jesus Christ. It was even my missus later on said to me, "I want to watch that back with you later," because she was in and out, right? Yeah. She said, I was in like here where I had my computer, and she was like, all I could do was like shouting and like, fucking no one, are you joking? Oh no, and she's like, I want to watch that back. So
yeah.
That's something though. Emile Smith Rowe is adding to his game now, Gary. He's able to like ghost in on the end of things, get on the end of them, get shots
Yeah,
away.
I mean, I think he's the one that makes the pass out to Saka, and then he's able to run down and get in position to make that pass, if I recall. So, and that's what we've been asking for, something like that, where we see a player kind of start it and maybe even get involved in it at the end, and that's what he did. So yeah,
Lumbergy, very Lumbergy.
yeah, he did. He looked really good, and he gives you that. But like I said, a lot of other players were loose with the ball, and he was one of those players. So he did really well there, but he also had some passes where he kind of just like not too crisp with them per se. But yeah, that was really good. We'll take that, and that's not a gift. No matter what anybody says, it's not a gift. You have to work hard for that, and I think the goalkeeper maybe made a mistake, but a gift, no. No.
Yeah, that's not a gift, Tony. Tuchel, Tickle, whatever we're calling you.
Yeah. Tony Tuchel, is that what his name is now?
Tony Tuchel, yeah.
How many fucking names am
I
I
thought it was
get?
Tony 2 times.
Tony 2 times.
Comrade Tonsky, we got all kinds of names.
I'm going to go get the papers.
He's been unusually well behaved tonight, so we'll see if that continues.
I can't get a word in because
Did you see that the comment from Steven there about Cedric maybe being his day? Like Arteta goes into his bag of tricks and pulls out, and today's free kick taker will be Cedric. Yeah.
Cedric was Arteta's pick for free kicks, so I doubt that Odegaard had intention.
I think they just draw straws, Ray.
I would not put that on Odegaard. Yeah, but Emile Smith Rowe, 10 goals for the season in the league, Tony.
Yeah, 10.
You complain about not saying anything. We give you something to say. You say you don't even say a whole word.
What
a sentence.
Come on, man. Tony has spoken. That's
you
it.
could say that's good. That's pretty good. I like that. Give me something. Give me something.
I didn't see you didn't have a question. You just said Saka. What do you want me to do?
You can embellish it a little
what are you
bit.
going to do here? I can't go here. I can't go there.
The man's throwing you a softball, man. Just hit it out the park, man.
You can take the Aspilicueta goal then, Tony. 2-2. 5 minutes later, 2-2.
Arsenal giveth, Arsenal taketh.
Yeah, first it's Eddie. Eddie give it, Eddie take it. Arsenal give it, Arsenal take it. Tony has the Tony Stark look going on. Gary?
No, I was just gonna say that goal is why Tavares is a liability on the back line. I mean, that's.
But these are things that you want. You want these players in the team. You just said you want to play these players so they're going to learn, Gary.
Yeah, but
that's how you learn.
Defense 101 says what? Do not play basically behind the offensive player.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to learn from that, right? He's going to learn from that mistake.
He didn't learn from it the last 2 times it happened.
Where's Gabriel there to clean it up?
I mean, he's gotten beat like that multiple times where he's not in the right position against the player and gets beat every time. And I've heard many say, maybe he's just not going to be. He's a winger. He's not a. He's a wing back. Sorry, he's not a.
He's better with like a wing back, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Stan, you gotta play him, right? Gary's not gonna like this, but you gotta play your young players. You gotta make mistakes, right?
I mean, if I'm the manager at half time when they come into the change room, I'm going to be saying to Tavares, like, "Come on, man, you've got to be mopping that shit up. What's up with you? I mean, that's just a simple mop up right there, But he's a conundrum for me, Tavares, because I can look at that game and there were so many misplaced passes that he made. He did, he was out of position, and so many gets drawn into the middle for some reason a lot. However, he created an assist as well. It was his assist for the next goal.
Yeah.
So I like the way that he's come. I like the way that he's come back into the team and he's got an assist there, right? but you can still see that he's a little bit inhibited. I think it was in the previous game. He was in a nice position to shoot on the edge of the box, but he fumbled and made a sideward pass. That's maybe a little lack of confidence. So, we didn't cost this guy didn't cost us a lot, but at the end of the day, I'd rather continue with him and have a player playing in their correct position than doing what we did by ripping up the whole playbook and jigging everything around just to accommodate the left back spot. We shouldn't be losing games just because of the left back spot.
Yeah. So I'll go back to Gary on this because I know he was starting to get back in there. Play Tavares. It's a win-win situation. We won the game, Gary, 4-2. Tavares made a mistake. Stan rightly said he did something good, and he wasn't destroyed in this game by Arteta, crippling his confidence. So is that all good?
No, it was good. I mean, like you said, it's interesting that he did not get pulled, right? Because he's done the same thing in other games and gotten pulled. But I guess, and that's when everybody.
Can I just add to that? It was Christensen that got Tavares in this match. Tavares is now like an actual thing. A player can get Tavares, and it was Christensen that actually got Tavares in this match.
That is going to be a thing throughout the Premier League. You just got Tavares. Gary?
No, he did. He like I said, he did good on the when he intercepted that ball and brought it down and took it up for the nice cross that goes in. But yeah, he just his positioning. It's not even the positioning is just really wrong when he's defending. So, is he a defender?
That's going to be anticipating the ball, though, Gary. He doesn't anticipate the danger, right?
Well, it's positioning so that he doesn't. So when the ball comes in, he's able to attack the ball.
He's in position. He's in position,
no, he's
but
not
he doesn't
position.
anticipate.
He's not in position because if he's in position, then they don't make that. They don't score that goal.
Yeah,
he's standing there. He looks at as a whatever. I'm not going to say the name right. But Aspie. He's looking at him. He sees him. I think he even points to him, and then he kind of backs away, giving all of that space. Ball comes in. He's late. He's never going to get there, and he's able to put it away. So, and that's the positioning I'm talking about. He's there, but he's not in the right position because he cannot defend a cross coming in.
The Swedish chef has returned, says Tony. That's why I said just go with Aspie, go with Odie.
I didn't like saying his name because he kind of pissed me off with that whole Xhaka thing. And
and he was the villain of the night, and I noticed at the end of the game he was even arguing with his own supporters.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, "Damn, dude."
Sorry, I was just checking the Oxford Dictionary, and Tavares is there. Tavares is there, and it says when a player is hauled off at half time. And the funny thing is, it's linked to a buade, and a buade is when a player is brought on as a substitute and then taken off and sub. So that's two entries there for Arsenal in the Oxford Dictionary.
Why not said we should not let stats cover up poor performance. We aren't Man United suffering with a stat pattern. Bruno Fernandes, we defended like amateurs. I just think, Tony, it was one of those kind of games, right? It was going to be a shootout. 2-2 at halftime.
Yeah, both teams were going for it. Chelsea was controlling the ball. We were going more for the counterattack. We finally got something with no possession. Last 3 games, we've had 65 to 75% of a possession, 0 points. This time we have hardly any possession and get the 3 points.
Stan, I always think this time of year is crazy. Easter throws up some weird results, but like you said, we could never have anticipated getting no points from Palace, Brighton, or Southampton. And I was quietly hopeful. I'm not going to say quietly confident. There's nobody could say you were quietly confident going to Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. I was quietly hopeful that we could do something and get 3 points to stop the rot,
Well, you was in a party of one then, because I didn't think we were going to get anything, because I said, I didn't think we'd get anything out of this game. So when I look at when we went in at half time and the score was a Desmond 2-2, right? I'm like, it's still on. You know,
Yeah,
we can get
45 minutes.
we can get something out
What's
of
to
it.
drink,
You know?
Gary?
What you drinking? Coconut water? Yeah,
And-
it is still on, Stan.
And even after they scored again, which was about 30 minutes until the half ended, we started to put the pressure on again. So there's a lot to take away from this game in the sense that on 2 occasions in this game we've gone ahead, and then the opposition has pegged us back, and our heads haven't dropped.
Yeah.
We haven't just given up the ghost and thought, oh, we fucked it against the best team in Europe.
Yeah.
We've kept going.
And, you know, that's a good thing. I think Arteta had said in the dressing room, you want Champions League football, you're going to have to go to places like this and win games. On the back of Palace, on the back of Brighton and Southampton, we definitely needed to go there, Gary, and get 3 points.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think not only that, but they gave us opportunities that other teams have, and we were able to finish them off. So we were able to be clinical with them. So that was the difference in the game. We had those similar opportunities in past games, especially in the last 2 that we lost. So yeah, man, we did what we needed to do, and they set us up. And some people would say they were disrespecting us, and then we came out and played a certain way. I don't necessarily. I mean, I have a feeling they had to play that way just because of the 2 games they did play coming in. So, and they're playing with their backups. We're playing with our backups to some degree. You would think with the money that they spend, they have better backups than us, right?
Yeah. They kept some very good players on the bench tonight. That night, the Chelsea fan Ray was calling out Aspie, demanding more from the captain for the poor performance, calling for intensity, aggression.
Was that the video where there was? I saw a video where there was like the fans that were quite sort of.
It was like 3 or 4 of them.
Like a family enclosure. They're right near the hoardings, right? Shouting at Aspilicueta, and then he's turned around and he's gone over to him, and it was like, you know, like the guy from the In-Betweeners when he's like, "No, friend." It was like the guy was just like, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and then he even gave him a double thumbs up, and it was, you know.
No, I mean, I think they were disappointed in their performance, and they didn't seem to show enough fire to get back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of who was on the pitch, they needed to get somebody.
They had Pulisic on the bench, they had Sal, they had Barkley, Ziyech, Havertz were all on the bench as well.
Well, they brought them all on, and it didn't help, right? They brought on Havoc, they brought on Ziyech, they brought on. I mean, who else did they bring on?
Just compare that to our bench. I mean,
they brought on players that are worth
a lot of money.
A lot of money. I mean, right?
Ziyech
and Havoc are like
I like
70,
that. A lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like 70 million just for those 2 players, right? So they brought in a lot of expensive players, and they've actually been playing well, right, for them.
Yeah.
Right. They've been playing well for them, so it wasn't like these players weren't in form. So
they literally got out their best china and thought, "Fuck this shit. We're gonna have to get the best china out."
Yeah, they brought out the paper plates. They started getting soggy, and people's clothes were getting all damaged because they were just seeping through. And they're like, "Wait a second."
We've got all these china here on the bench. Just use some of that, you know.
For me to be quietly hopeful of a result, I did tweet out, you know, Mohamed Elneny is here to help, and he's starting. So that was my quiet confidence. I wasn't going to shout it from the rooftops at all.
No, you weren't.
I don't know how many of you feel. I don't know if we're going to go down this road as far as what this win means. I don't know if you have that in your
means
your
3
list
points,
of
Gary.
the list of things. Ray, no, I don't know if Ray wanted to talk about that.
We could definitely do that. Yeah, we're gonna dissect this one. The other thing was I was looking back at the Chelsea's home form, and Tuchel has not been. They lost to Madrid, okay, but their last win was against Newcastle, and that came in the last minute, I believe, over a month ago. So playing at home for Chelsea has not been a lot of fun for them. Maybe their fixture list looks pretty heavy.
They must have players as well who are probably coming into the last year of their contract and are thinking to themselves, "Well, what's the fucking deal then? Am I going to stay here? Are they going to be allowed to re-sign me? Should I be talking to my fucking agents about finding me, you know, pastures new?" So there must be some uncertainty. And if players are thinking that, maybe the manager, is a little bit uncertain about, I mean, look how much they spent on Lukaku.
Yeah.
I mean, there's us
Top of the
bitching about
season, right?
Lacazette. There's us like bitching about Lacazette. I mean, they spent a lot of dough on Lukaku, and it's just not happening.
So
I mean, you keep talking about Pepe, and Pepe's delivering similar results as Lukaku, right? And at least right now he is. But
yeah.
he's-
Tuchel's lineup was disrespectful. I think they had the semi-final 2 days before, and they were rotating, and I think this is what happened. What
Ruben
happened? when
Loftus
we rotate?
Cheeks. Ruben Loftus Creek. It's like it's a wine. Loftus Creek.
Ruben
It's an old
Softus
wine.
Cheeks Alonso. Yeah. Last time Chelsea lost 3 at home was 1993.
I mean, they don't have a. I mean, we talk about how the rest of the games look. I mean, if you look at their games, until they play decent teams up and most of their games. West Ham United, but then they have a little freebie with Everton. Then they play Wolves. Leeds, and then they have the final against Liverpool, and then they finish off with Leicester City and Watford. So these next 2 matches for them are going to be some tough ones. So
who won the Champions League last year?
Chelsea.
Oh yeah, okay. Just sorry. It's almost like everyone forgot that.
You know what? I always say, can you build on what you did the previous season? And they've shown that you can win a Champions League and not build on it. And they thought one player would make the difference, and when in reality they probably needed more, right? So
but there's been certain Arsenal people, fans, supporters, social media saying things like, we shouldn't even be in we should not be playing in the Champions League.
No, not Tony. Sorry,
we're not good enough to be playing in the
Don't
Champions
point at me on that one, Ray.
We just beat the champions of Europe.
Now,
We just beat the champions of Europe, so why shouldn't we be in the Champions League? And if we do, if we do qualify for the Champions League, we'll get more money. We'll have better players. I mean, we won't be going in the same team that we have now.
Yeah, Tony.
I don't get that mentality at all.
We want to be there, Tony. We want to be there. It's been proven it's easier to win the Champions League than it is the title.
Yeah, fucking shit. Now. Spurs team finished 1 point ahead of us and got to the final. So that's all you need to know about it.
Noe Donis, thanks for joining us.
Noe's back
here. Noe is in town. If Chelsea can win the FA Cup, it'll be another successful season. That's it for Chelsea. They got to beat Liverpool, though. Liverpool still going for that quadruple. Tony, set us up with Eddie's winner. This was the 3-2 leading goal.
Trying to remember the goal. Sorry.
This is the guy that wants more minutes, Gary.
This is the one, right? I remember it very well because if Tony doesn't mind, I remember this one very well because when Tavares put the ball in, it was almost like a straight horizontal line. Eddie Nketiah, when he first got that ball, I thought he'd absolutely nosed it because he got the ball, it went across him, and then he kind of like flicked it out to his right. And it was almost like he felt another player was running in to get the ball. And it was only luckily that watching it back, when he clicked it out to his right, the ball bounced off of the Chelsea player and it came straight back into the path of Eddie. And there you go. He got to slot it home or not. And he did at the second time of asking. So fair play. But there was a few seconds there I was like he's blown it. He's as they say in FIFA, he's fluffed his lines. But he managed to get the ball back and it went in.
This is maybe Eddie, Gary. Instinctual. He doesn't have much time to think about it. He's got to take his chance.
If that's what it takes, I guess that's what it takes. But that was, like you said, he makes that move, spins, and it ping-pongs off 3 Chelsea players, and he stabs at it real quickly and puts it past the goalkeeper. I mean, like you said, bang, 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 goal. I mean, yes. I mean, and that, the fact that he's able to get himself in position is, the difference between him and any Lacazette, right? So, he was good to be in there. Good, he was in the right position. He tried to make the right move. The ball fell to him because, he created opportunity and the ball fell to him and he took it. So we'll take it all day long. And you can say it's a hit. I don't think that one's a poacher. as much as the other one was, but that one was just him not giving up on the ball just because he lost it. And we see that a lot of times, right, with football players. They lose the ball, they just give up on it. And that fraction of a second is the difference between them actually maybe getting it back. So he did well to stay on that.
Especially there in front of the goalkeeper. If you can pick up those scraps, you got a shot on goal right there.
I think there's a lot of luck in that goal, but he kept his composure because I watched it back, and his first touch, he kicks the ball away from himself. And if there isn't another Chelsea player there, the ball's not coming back to him.
Yeah.
You know, it was ping, but then when he done that first touch, it came back to him. However, he's still got to have his composure to think, I'm back on target again, and put it away. So fair play to him. You know, I'm not going to take it away from him at all.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not a betting man, but I'm thinking, I wonder what the online betting odds are for Eddie getting a hat trick at this point. I'm like, I'm going to empty my fucking bank account on this one.
Yeah. I mean, you get 2 goals like that, two gifts, Tony. So 3-2, well taken goal in the end. And the move makes it. The spin on the ball from where he takes that ball from Tavares. And that one's to you, Tony.
Of course it was.
What do you want me to do? You just said what the goal was.
Tony's having a 6 out of 10 game tonight.
I know. What is going on? The dude's giving you layups, man. Take it to the hole and slam it down.
He's having one of them Lacazette performances, isn't he?
You're sitting in front of the goal.
Tony, get in the box. Get in the box.
The take from the Tavares assist was really nice.
Tony doesn't like the minute-to-minute breakdown of the games.
Yeah, this is how it works,
Jackson,
man.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
You're new around here, so it's great to see a new face once in a while. We're a tight-knit family, but you're absolutely pull up a chair. You're welcome. Everyone's
welcome. But Phil helped it go into a goal.
All right, Tony. Eddie's second goal. Come on now. Let's go.
His second. You just went with a second goal. What do you want me to say?
Something.
He made it. Yay.
Anything.
I'm ready to move on past the game. Ray.
We desperately needed some luck to come our way for a change.
We need people that have just tuned in and like, fuck
once
this
we
shit.
got twice on the first and
he doesn't want to talk about it. I don't want to listen to it.
All right, Tony. Aspi Laquerta would go on to have a really bad finish to the night. The penalty. I've looked at it like Saka's a little bit clever there. Bukayo Saka's a little clever. Who agrees with me? He grabs the arm of Aspi.
Nailed on.
I don't know what you saw. I agree with VAR. I agree with VAR in this one. So
there's a still of that I've seen, and for me, it looks like it's straight out of the How to Tackle by Skodran Mustafi book. He's got him. Do you know what I mean?
All right. And Saka has hold on a little bit, right, and sold it.
He sold it,
and then he drew a penalty. That's what he did.
This is like another week. He said
in his interview, didn't he? He said he's got his arms around me, and I think he said, "So I went to ground."
It's 5 seconds.
He's thinking, "What else am I going to do? To stand there wriggling?" Do you know what I mean? Like to stand there wriggling. And he said, "I understand him maybe not liking that, but what are you going to do?" You know.
Yeah.
He put the onus on the official. We say that all the time, don't we? We say make the official have to make a call.
Yeah. And with Arteta, I don't want to see
it. Didn't even go over. I was surprised. None of that turning it upside down and drawing lines and all this. And I mean, I was like,
didn't they give a yellow last week for that?
To be alive. This is a great day.
Yeah. Why not said with Arteta, I don't want to see Arsenal in the Champions League seen the past week and a bit. Arsenal don't have the quality for Champions League, not being able to break teams down. But not every team wins every game in the Champions League. The Champions League is a competition.
Let me ask this question then. So let's say at the end of the season, right, we finish in 4th place and we qualify for the Champions League, and we get on top of the 50 odd million that's reported that we're going to get to invest, we get another 60 odd million for qualifying.
That was 200 million was what was reported.
Okay, I'll take that, Tony. Whatever. I'm happy. I was trying to play it low, like. But the question is, to your not is, if that situation happens, are you really going to sit there and go, "Oh, this is fucking bullshit"? What the fuck are we doing in the Champions League? Oh, no.
With our lack of depth
No,
and the
we
World
should
Cup
not be
coming
in
up,
the fucking
it's going to be
Champions
easy to
League.
sell it to players.
I don't understand. I mean, if we've
It'll be easy
earned
to get
it,
players.
if
Take,
we've earned it, we're not going to be playing in the Champions League with the same squad that we have now. We'll be better. And okay, we might not win it. We may not even get out of the groups. But if we continue to qualify again, there's more money and the squad gets even better.
Especially
and
the season after this
groups. Then before you
10
know
group
it, you're in
stage games.
quarterfinals, then semi-finals. It's a gradual thing. It doesn't happen in a big swoop.
Yeah.
You don't go into the Champions League and win it in a, you know.
To me, it's essential to get in it this year because the season after, the new format, 10 group stage games, money's going to be huge. That's why we seen the formation of the breakaway European League and all the fans threw their fit. But that's how they got all the changes made they wanted. So more TV money, more revenue in the stadium.
It could be the difference of replacing Xhaka with, say, for example, Ruben Neves as opposed to, I don't know, Todd Cantwell. Or, you know what I mean? There's a difference in the quality you're going to be able to get.
Yuri Tielemans. If you want Tielemans in your midfield, we get in.
We can get him for hardly anything.
I'd rather qualify for the Champions League, right, and be able to get Tielemans and Neves because we don't have the depth.
And we can get him for under 60 million.
If you just get Tielemans, remember what I said earlier about replacing the, Lacazette and Xhaka with players 20, 23, whatever. There's no experience. As much as I like Tielemans, if you're asking me to choose between Tielemans and Neves, for example, to replace Xhaka, I'd have to go with Neves if I could only choose one because of the experience he's got, even though I like Tielemans. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Because Tielemans doesn't have any experience. Who's he going to fucking help? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're linked to that 60 million euro.
If we can get both, then great, because we've still got Neves to help bridge the gap and be the experienced head. If you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
We're linked to a 60 million euro midfielder I have not a clue about. I'd rather get Neves and Tielemans any day. Get two players. We need depth.
Gary, look at a team like Benfica. Didn't they entertain people in the competition? Weren't they a breath of fresh air?
No, definitely. I mean, like I said, I kind of, when we first talked about would you want to get into Champions League, my initial thought was no, because I think we need to grow. And we're not going to grow.
Boo, Gary. Boo.
No,
who earns?
I'm just saying for the growth of the team, longevity, and all of that. You need to show some steady growth, and the only way you can do that is move up the table gradually where you need to be so you can grow and get bigger and better. I understand the jump to Champions League.
How the fuck are we to get the players we need being in Europe?
Stop your chatting.
We don't have to make this a big thing, Tony.
No. What I'm saying is though, if you're talking about natural,
you want me to talk, then you don't want me to talk. Make up your mind.
I start talking, then you want to talk.
You've been talking the whole show, Gary.
Then we let you talk, and then you say no.
Start talking when it's your turn. I mean,
really start at 1
hour. I
hour.
know what you're talking about. Is that how this thing works?
Brady's going to see Tony and Gary fight after 1 hour and a half.
All I gotta do is just move really fast. He won't catch me.
Yeah. Oh, you'll be surprised, Gary.
Why not?
Man's on wheels. Man's on wheels, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
Why not is scared of the imminent battering? And that can happen when you face a big team. Yes, but we're not going to get battered every game of the group that we're going to be in. And that's what supporting the team's all about. Enjoying the David versus Goliath, maybe part of it as well.
And luckily, since if we do finish fourth, we don't have that stupid fucking qualification game. I
really want to ask though, why not? I mean, he said earlier, or kind of hinted at that he didn't think that we were ready for the Champions League. Whether he means we're not ready or he doesn't want us to play.
He's
but
scared of the.
He said with Arteta, he's.
But do you not think though that if we qualify, we're not going to be going in how we are. We will have improvements, and then depending on how you do, and meanwhile qualify yet again to be in the competition, you continue to build. It's got to be a gradual thing, right? All right, we go in, then we get knocked out before the end of the group stage. We've already brought some players in, but if we can qualify again and continue, it's got to be the way to go.
Yeah.
And as a fan, we get to see more football matches, which
We
is
got
what
to
it's
be
all
in
about.
No, but if you're saying that, you're talking about the gradual change, then that gradual change doesn't require you having to go into the Champions League too, right? We're always talking about, you were talking about growing the team, and what in the transfer market leads you to believe that we'll be able to get all the players that we're going to need to actually be somewhat competitive in the Champions League, along with the league and the two cup games, league championships that we're going to play for as well, right? I mean,
Money
for me,
talks, right? Money talks.
Yeah, but we had money, and they said no. The players said
and
no.
So does the Champions League. But if we've got Champions League and the money, it changes things. And if I had I said this before, if I had my magic wand, and it's not a popular opinion, how I would like it to play out is that we qualify for the Europa League, and I would love to see us win the Europa League, and we qualify for the Champions League either by winning it, but our league place is still in the top four.
Yeah,
and I say that because I'm a completionist.
You really want to play?
I really think that because of the young profile that we have, if they could navigate the squad and it would help the manager and go through the cup that way and have that chalked off, I think it'd be a great stepping stone.
I just think we've done that, Stan. We got to a final. We got
to
watch
us play.
We have not
watched us play in Turkey on a fucking
been
Thursday.
there, done that.
We have not done it. You guys are acting like we've been playing European football the last couple of years. We are not. We're not a team that is playing European football. So to then all of a sudden say, "Oh, we've been doing that in the past." No, we're not. We're not a team.
I don't need it happen to I don't need it all to happen in 5 minutes. I'm quite happy for this team because they are young to qualify for the Europa League. We spend money and we bring some people in, and we go through that together. And by the time, if we win that, and there's a lot learned between the manager and those players, and we qualify then for the Champions League. And don't get me wrong, I don't say that we win it, and that's how we qualify. I still want us to finish in the top 4 while we're in the Europa League. And then it's like that next step, and everybody's got this kind of experience of what it's like to go through that kind of a competition. I would like. It's greedy. It's not. I know there's other people that will say, "Yeah, just go in the Champions League straight away." It's greedy, but I'd like to do it that way.
Yeah. Look, we've seen what Chelsea did. They won the Champions League last season. They didn't back it up this year. They got Lukaku. They spend money. They weren't able to crack Liverpool. They weren't able to crack Manchester City. There's crazy levels for those two teams that every team has to try to get to if we're going to have a crack at the league.
And you need to build. You have to build a base though for that.
Yep.
We're not building a base if we just go in the Champions League and have to just grab as many of the best players as we can, because it's not going to be. It's not going to be a situation where you just plug and play like you're seeing Liverpool and City do.
It's not they build it, they will come. We've got to be in the Champions League.
No, but they built it. They built it. They didn't start from scratch. When they built it up. All of those players are what the manager wants, right? Arteta doesn't even have half the players that he wants, right?
Right.
Well, he's signed every player except for Locke.
No, he doesn't. It doesn't matter. We've gone over this so many times.
We have
the players he wants. He doesn't.
We can leave it right there because we're going to talk about the last 6 games as well a little bit. And there's also 2 topics that Stan wants to talk about, one that Gary wants to talk about. So we're going to take Gary's one after Tony's done one, and then we'll get to Stan's topic. Okay?
What, we can talk about the Johnny Depp trial? I thought
we're going to talk about the culture.
Oh yeah, that's
change.
what I thought you were about the Johnny Depp trial.
And Gary posed a question.
Cool group, man. I like the group, man.
After the Don Juan Man of the Match award, Gary posed the question: what does this win mean? So we'll get into that then, Gary. Tony. Well, should you give us some nominees? You want to tell us who it is, or do you want us to give us your?
Let's go with a picture.
You're going to give this. You're going to give the Man of the Match award to Saka.
Yep. He was key in the attack. I think you could give it to either 4 of the 4 attackers, but I give it to Saka. He's
Okay.
key in creating stuff.
You agree with that, Gary?
No, Saka is definitely up there. I mean, I kind of look at Elneny and Nketiah and think they helped in this game, especially in this game. Saka does what he does. We've seen it from him a lot, and yes, he's been not so good in the last couple of games. Someone would say, but I think what we needed today and what we got from Nketiah was really good. And Elneny held down the midfield with Xhaka, and that's what we were looking for. So for me, I gave it to Nketiah. As much as I gave it to him, but I still want him to go at the end of the season. So I can do that. So, yeah,
If
I believe
with scoring 5 or 6 more goals to the end of the
he
season.
could get to 10 goals this season. I still want him gone.
No, but we wish him well then, right?
Yeah, no. I think, as Stan said, we've given him enough opportunities.
Yeah.
He wants to go. That's his plan has been to go. He's playing like it when he comes in. So you know what? Sometimes it's like, all right, it's cool, and we need to do better than what we have. So Nketiah being our third. I don't think he's our second striker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stan, one for Nketiah, one for Saka. Who are you going for?
I have to agree with Gary. I think I'd give it to Eddie Nketiah, and I'd basically just be repeating everything that Gary said. Everything he said from him. Having a good game, but it's time for him to go. All of the same things. I definitely would give it to Eddie. He was busy all night. Could have got a hat trick. Was causing them problems. And it's refreshing, right? Just to see what a little bit of energy can do after looking at Lacazette being so immobile for so long. And I think that I'm not saying that he's our savior, but he's definitely, I believe in picking players that play in the right positions as well. I don't like to experiment too much like that. So Eddie Nketiah is a striker. He's got 2 goals away to Chelsea. Let's give him another game. You can always take him off if he's having a Tavares. You can always Tavares him if you need be.
Definitely. Don Juan Elneny says, why not? I will agree with that one. There's one thing you could have done. You could have persevered with Lokonga and given him experience to the end of the season. Maybe not get as many points as we would have. If you go with Elneny, I think you get more consistent performances.
He had a good game. Had he scored a goal, then that would be a big contender.
He got high standards.
That would put him over the top. Do you know what I mean? But he had a very good game.
One thing I'll say is that what Eddie has shown is that if that's because it sounds like Arteta really wanted to re-sign Eddie for whatever he does well in practice, right? If that's the kind of play that he wants, and that's what we saw, yesterday for us over here in the States yesterday. We just need that we need a player just like that, but better, who scores multiple, double-digit goals consistently or can, and you foresee that in their future. So
Gary's weeds wearing off.
I'm just very wary. That stuff. I'm just very wary. We never play that. It's not like they've been around for 3 years, and for the first 2 years, you've been really iffy about their performances, and then in the third year, they perk up. The goals come, the assists come. And I look at players like Eddie and Xhaka. They've been on the scene for a long time, and I'm not having it that now they're very good. No, they do what they're like fucking caterpillars. They fucking hibernated and they fucking hatched out as big fucking butterflies all of a sudden.
Eddie just looked like shit on the weekend.
Enjoy the purple patch and enjoy the last dance. That's me.
Like
I'm glad of the performances that they've been giving us. And I hope that it continues to creak along to the end of the season to reach our goals. But only a madman would fucking persist with it beyond next season, beyond this season.
Yeah. Okay. Gary, you want to start off the topic? That was okay. So we beat Chelsea, much needed 3 points. Some gifts handed out by Tony Tickle. What does this, Gary? You want to pose the question? What does this mean to us now?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, coming into this game, I think a lot of us A lot of people thought this game pretty much was we're not getting anything from this thing. Season's over. Top four is probably not going to happen, right? On one side of the fence, we get this win. People are like, "All right, we're back on track now. Everything's going to be good. Top four is definitely in our grasp. You know, all the positives that you can throw at it." Then you have the other side going, "It's a blip." I'm of the opinion that it's a 3 points, but we have a big game. We have a big game coming up on Saturday. Very big game. Team is struggling, but team is also going to be probably a little energized coming in. And if we were not to get all 3 points from that, then the Chelsea game actually means nothing, right? And we've ran out of whatever, get out of jail cards and all that kind of stuff that you can, freebies and stuff like that. We have no more opportunity. We have to get points.
Is it in Monopoly Community Chest?
Yeah, I was gonna say go directly to go collect your 200 or whatever, but I can.
You've come second in the beauty contest.
There you go. None of those is happening. So we have to back it up for me to show that we are moving. And I always want to see improvement from game to game. So let's do it again. We're gonna go home. The crowd is gonna be crazy, right? The fans are gonna be up for it. The players need to be up for it. This is a big game. United's coming to town. We don't like them. They don't like us. All that kind of stuff. We need to get the 3 points. So for me, this win is just it looks like a blip, but it hopefully is a trigger for us to get something out of the next one. And the team has to. Otherwise, it's all for naught anyways, right? As bad as people have said, as bad as United is, they're 3 points behind us. So they can't obviously be that bad, or we're struggling. We're having a better year than we had last year, right? And it still doesn't feel like that. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but I kind of feel like, it's not as the 3 points is good, but it's not as big as most people might be thinking it is. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think people get too hyped up on losses, too hyped up on wins. Just take it as it goes. Is 3 points. We're still not good enough. We've lost 4 of our last 6. Chelsea kind of gifted us. They had a tough FA Cup game on a weekend. I don't think we got a full Chelsea team playing us. We took advantage of it. We won. We move on. United's form's been about like ours the last month. It's a must-win game. I think it's a bit of a decider if we get top 4 more than likely. But it's one we have to go and win.
Well, you got to remember, we played the last 3 games we played that we lost. We weren't playing with their top players either, so that's not really. And we didn't win. So, and I think Chelsea's much better than those teams, even with their bench. So we lost games to teams that were way better than the one we just beat, regardless of whether they went with their bench or not. Yep. Southampton, no way is close to the bench of Chelsea, and we lost to them.
Yep. Look at the Crystal Palace game. That was always going to be a difficult game, I thought. So many of us would have taken a draw from that game against Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira has done a good job there, going to a difficult environment. They jumped on top of us. We went 2-0 down, and we never came back from that. The famed positional change, Granit Xhaka left back, was just a huge Arteta mistake, going back to something that clearly hadn't worked last season. You've got cover at left back. You never used it in Tavares. Deserved to lose that game for that reason.
And Tailor can play either side too. And White can play right back. So
Brighton needed something that we needed against Chelsea. They needed a spark, and they needed to get going again, and we got that against Chelsea. Against Southampton, the attitude wasn't right. We came up against, I think, we missed a couple of gilt-edged chances that we could have otherwise scored, and they scored 1 goal. We lost on small margins. we've been winning on small margins. We lost the game on small margins against Southampton. And Gary, this game against Chelsea, we needed to win the game. And I think that plays a lot into whether you win a game or you don't. It's the desire to win your individual battles, win the game. And, that's what we did. Chelsea were tired from Sunday, changed the team a little bit, and we took advantage of it as well. Eddie had played a few games and, got up to speed a little bit. Hopefully that continues on Saturday. But, that's what it means, 3 points to us, but it means confidence, rebuilding that confidence again. And yeah, we could have had 9 points against Palace, Southampton, Brighton. We didn't. And this was always going to come down to the last few games here. And that's where we're at. Who didn't get to speak, Stan?
What does it mean for us? My worry is, if you can remember, a few times I've mentioned that one of our biggest problems that we always had to put right was being able to pick up points against teams in matches where we should. Stop dropping points at places like Brighton. And I was waxing lyrical about how we seem to have turned that corner, that we were picking up the points that we should. And once you get that base, you then look at the bigger teams and start working out how to attack them. And I was worried that we may have slipped on that with those last three fixtures. I still think that we lost those 3 fixtures because of the profile of the team. But this team has shown that they can hit patches of form, right? So maybe we lose those 3 games and now we're coming back into form, because I definitely think that there's points to be had. Man United, they're in a worse position than we are psychologically. I mean, didn't Pogba get Tavares in the last game? He was off before half-time or at half-time or something like that. They've got big problems there. And this is a time where this is one where you should be looking at the fixture as the team and rubbing your hands together and thinking, oh, we can get something here. While they're down, we can definitely walk away with some points here. And we should be able to walk away with all 3.
We just like that killer instinct, though.
Their defense is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And all you've got to do, they don't like running at the moment. Man United don't want to run at the moment. So if you are busy around them, you're going to find the gaps and you're going to get opportunities to perhaps get goals.
Yeah, hopefully we continue all the through balls we've been doing since the first of the year into the empty space.
Yeah.
And we have, like we said, we have to take advantage of everything that's given to us. They will give us opportunities, so we have to take them, and we have to keep that crowd cheering. I mean, they need to come out. The whistle blows, bang, all in their face. Foot
We
on
have,
neck, and it's
Even their attack doesn't really look that, look like it's got bite in it. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, when he first came into that team, was kind of holding it on his back for a while and was getting them penalties and last-minute winners. He's out of form now, Obviously, they don't have CR7 at the weekend that we mentioned a little bit earlier, so that does make them significantly weaker as well. So, their midfield has problems. Ralph Rangnick seems to keep changing stuff around. Paul Pogba seems like he can't get a firm place. This is a good time to get at them. Really good time. I was so nervous going into the Chelsea game, and I was thinking to myself, damn, off the back of those last 3 losses that we had, why couldn't our next game have been United and then Chelsea?
Yeah.
And so we should be pumped up. We should be pumped up after taking them at the Bridge for 3 points as well. That should give us even more of a lift.
And as manager, I don't like to hear Arteta complaining about the turnaround. I think use it to your advantage. You've got some momentum now with a win.
He doesn't want Champions League then. He doesn't want European football then.
They all complain.
No, but it's stupid to complain. That is what it is. If you want
last year he's complaining he had too many players.
Makes me want to do the Arteta face. The man.
We were going to start with that
classic face. That's a classic face.
Arteta acts like he doesn't pick and choose for players. Last year he's bitching about us having too many players. Now he's bitching about us not having enough players. We're tired.
Why Not is giving us some good stuff tonight. The attitude and culture of Arsenal against Southampton and Brighton was arrogance and application and attitude. And I think we needed that. Well,
I think
maybe
it's
we didn't need
arrogance
it, but
in the way that the team was set up, but
the attitude and
because
application of players as well, Gary.
you think our players are arrogant.
We
I don't.
didn't produce
I don't.
anything for
I don't think our
for the
players are
last 10 minutes
arrogant. Arrogant?
against Brighton. We didn't produce anything against Brighton.
Arrogant, though. You think they were arrogant?
I don't know how you would verbalize it, but we didn't apply ourselves.
Yeah, that's not arrogant, though. That's
No.
inept, right?
Yeah.
I think.
I think Arteta was. I think he was, but I don't think the team was.
I think the team was set up poorly, and they performed that way. They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't set up to perform at their best
With the
capabilities.
so the Brighton game was playing Xhaka left back, Lokonga in midfield.
No,
Upset
that
the
just
team
hurt
balance.
your team terribly. And then you put them in the next game, and I think they're just trying to figure things out after what they just went through the previous game. And so
The next game was Eddie Nketiah getting the start against Southampton, and
Yes,
I think he needed that game as well. If
Yeah,
we could have scored with Saka early on, it may have been a different story.
definitely.
You know?
Now, I say, I don't know if you saw the question from Why Not about 6 points.
Yeah, where would Arsenal be
Third.
with an extra 6 points? But
You are a genius, Tony. How in the world did you figure that all out?
I'm good at math, Gary.
he's the math guy and he's the form table guy.
No, think about it. Not
Hey,
only
Ray, did you give me my points for Burnley this
you're
week?
not giving you any points. You don't deserve any
You didn't
points.
say you wanted Burnley.
No,
Yes,
think
I
about
did.
it.
I said it during the show, and I said it during the chat.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I actually took a picture of what you said, and
Tony, don't do it again. Tony, tell me you didn't do it again.
you said Burnley was going to be my pick.
Did I send in any other picks, Ray?
No, you didn't say anything else. You said Burnley was going to be my pick. That's what you said. Does that mean that he's definitely picking Burnley?
It doesn't mean it, but it doesn't mean that he did. It doesn't mean that he picked something else either.
I said Burnley was my pick during the show, Ray.
This weekend you didn't make a pick.
I made a pick, Ray.
Well, Tony, look for it though. You should be able to find it in the check. But no, I think if we got the 6 points that there's probably 6 points out there that we kind of gave away, right? At least in all the games that we've lost or drawn, there are probably 6 points that we lost, and 6 points right now, like you said, put us in third.
Comfortably more than 6 points.
The thing about that is, though, Man United can say that, Gary. Tottenham can say that.
We don't care, but we really don't care about them at all. Not even a little bit.
With the points that we have is the points that we've earned. And
No.
All we know is nobody wants
You
fucking
can't
fourth.
just change the question because
Nobody
you don't
wants
like
fourth. Nobody wants.
Let me ask you a question. You just change it. I'm saying no. That's not the right question. You meant to say this. No, that was the question. If we're sitting in third, I think the team would be feeling a little bit better about themselves. Because that would have mean we would have won more games than we have, and maybe that means we won the 2 games coming into the Chelsea game, right? And we wouldn't be looking at that game and going, you know what, we'd be lucky to get a draw.
Yeah.
All right. So I think the confidence would grow. The team might have been set up perfectly for the 2 games coming into the United game. So I think it keeps the team confident, and it maybe creates some arrogance in the team when you're winning like that, when you're sitting in third.
Definitely. We're going to talk about United real quickly. We've been sort of talking about a lot of stuff anyway, but let's get to the culture. Stan, you want to talk about culture change?
Yeah.
Culture Club.
I was listening, Culture Club, Come a Chameleon. I was listening to Harry Simeon over on the Chronicles of a Gooner. I listen to him quite a lot, and I'm sure everybody listening knows who Harry is. Got a great channel, has a lot of information. And he was talking about how Arsenal have hired an outside company to come into Arsenal, and their remit is to basically bring about the heritage and a culture around Arsenal that's linked to the heritage and extends to the fans and the values of Arsenal. And you know, when I heard about that, it surprised me, because since Mikel Arteta has been the manager of Arsenal, no matter what you think of the selections, the tactics, players in, players out, the one thing that I was led to believe, when I say led to believe, I'm going by what I see on the pitch with the players, but also the marketing from Arsenal, that the one thing that Mikel Arteta had accomplished was to galvanise and have unity in the team. So to hear that an outside company is coming in, I mean, to look at the culture, it just raises a lot of questions for me. You know, is it Mikel Arteta that wants this to happen? Does he feel a need for it? Is it something that's happening above his head? You know, I mean, surely it would be a lot cheaper to just get Martin Keown to come in for an hour and talk to everybody. He'd tell everybody about the history of Arsenal. I mean, the other question I have raised is, if you remember during the lockdown as well, there were a lot of people that were connected to the club who held that bloodline, if you will, of heritage and history with the club, who were let go.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a case that these people have just been replaced by a load of people off of LinkedIn or from Kelly's recruitment, and they don't have any connection to the club? I just find it quite surprising that that's an area that we're going to be investing money in, and that's an area that I thought that was the one area that we kind of had sorted out. I just wondered what. Before I go to what your guys' thoughts are, a point that came up when I was talking about this earlier in the week on another podcast, and a guy called James mentioned that the way that he says it is, maybe this isn't about linking the club to our past. Is this about KSE coming in and basically rebranding Arsenal? The crest will be the same, but at the end of this 3 or 6 month exercise, there'll be a new mission statement followed by bullet points of the values of Arsenal moving forward. This won't be an exercise where a company comes in and talks to maybe supporters who've supported the club for 30, 40, 50 years, part of the players' associations, to get that information. Is this a case where they're going to come in and rebrand Arsenal? Are we going to be looking at a new Arsenal vision for the future? Yeah, they will still have a cannon, still have the same crest, but maybe the mission statement and the points of the values will be different. I mean, I never thought of it like that. I just wondered what you guys think about this.
Maybe it's part of the remodel they're doing at Emirates.
Yeah, the Arsenal misfits.
You're not talking about decorating and putting a fucking paintbrush around. This is talking about heritage, values of Arsenal. I mean, an outside company. What do they know about Arsenal? What are they going to do? Watch the Invincible DVD, then come in and say, right, okay, we know about Arsenal.
Yeah, I think.
Couldn't David O'Leary? You know, what I'm saying is, if you want to have links, there's other ways that it could be done. Somebody like David O'Leary just popped into my head. Isn't Robert Pires still the caretaker at Arsenal? I'm sure he can spin a yarn.
Yeah. This rebrand and Americanization of Arsenal, the Arsenal misfit goes on. So this culture thing is pure crap. If you want to know about the culture, bring in the Invincibles and the players from other championship winning clubs. Spend the money on a player.
Bring in Hall of Famer Ian Wright. Ian Wright's a Hall of Famer now, right? Yeah. I listen to a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's available for Adidas commercials.
We're going to mention Ian Wright a little bit as well. Yeah, getting into the Hall of Fame of the Premier League. Gary, this brings to mind for me Jurgen Klopp. I don't compare Arsenal to Chelsea. I don't compare Arsenal to City. I compare Arsenal to Liverpool, and that's kind of the model I want to see my team be run at. Jurgen Klopp coming to Liverpool, he identified quickly what the city was about, what the club was about. It doesn't seem like we've identified what Arsenal is within London by sort of outsourcing an agency to institute some kind of culture change.
Yeah, this doesn't sound right. I mean, because your ownership's been with the team for over 10 years. So if they don't know what Arsenal's all about, then what were they doing for the 10 years they were part of the board, right? A former captain of your team is running the club. A former invincible of your team is part of the management team at your club.
Yeah.
What more do you need to bring culture and understand the history of your squad? I mean, I think they were saying that some of the reasons why they were doing that is because they needed to probably put some pictures up inside the building so the people that work there knew what the history of Arsenal was. Are you
The
kidding
new
me?
employees.
Are you serious? What?
Yeah.
What? Of all the people in England that they could have found,
I've never heard of Google. Then
yeah, that's the thing.
Arsenal
Of all the people that they could have find to work at Arsenal, and people that would probably want to work at Arsenal, they found a group of people that don't know anything about the football that Arsenal has played in the past or just yesterday. I mean, come on. I mean, this is.
I'm sure the Gunnosaurus must have some stories, right?
Is he employed? I mean, they let him go. He probably forgot all the history that he remembered when he was there, and had to. Yeah, I need a refresher course on the history of Arsenal, because when you let me go, I just forgot all about it, and now I need you to bring it back.
We've got a museum there, right?
Well, you have tours. Well, you know what? Just send your employees on the stadium tour where they talk about the history of Arsenal. They show them the trophies, the locker room, all of that. There you go. That's part of the culture. But the culture for most teams, that when we talk about the culture now, give me a win, give me a goal, give me a win, give me a goal. We need goals, and those translate into wins, and that's what we need to do. And you'll get culture immediately with that. People will be thinking about Arsenal all the time. So like you said, Stan, I never thought about it the way you just described it, in terms of, you know what, this is KSC trying to change what the culture of Arsenal actually is, as opposed to bring culture
I don't think
this
so.
thing. Well, it's scary because it could be what they're trying to do, but it also the fact that they actually have to do it is scary enough. The fact that they might change the culture of the squad is scary too. But why would you? This is why you should have been building this thing from day one. This isn't something you just all of a sudden, you know what? We just all of a sudden forgot all about the culture and how the history of this Arsenal team and how we run it, and now we need to bring it back. That just doesn't.
This documentary.
It's a poorly managed team. And he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't.
Is there any chance that Mikel Arteta has somehow requested this, or this has happened over his head?
Does he not?
What I mean? Is it a tool that he thinks he needs?
I think it's above his head.
Because it doesn't sound he's so power hungry. To me, it doesn't sound like something he would relinquish. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? To an outside firm to come in and tell everybody this is how it is.
I can't remember his comments about it. He had a comment about it.
They had a fan forum, right? They have they have like 8 people, right?
Yes.
Part of the fan forum. Yeah. I have no doubt that they did not communicate with them about this decision. Like, my thought is they would talk to the fan forum to make sure they don't do, as I say, do something silly. This is really silly. Mm-hmm. You've got a fan forum of current ticket holders, fans that have been part of Arsenal for a lot of their lives, if not all of their life, that they can remember. Arsenal's part of it. And now you're telling them that the team doesn't know the culture of Arsenal. You've got like 8 people there. 8 people there are supposed to be part of, like, they did not. There's no way they talked to them, and if they did, I'll be surprised that.
It sounded to me like that it wasn't just like a team level thing. It sounded like it was a whole. Do you know what I mean? The whole club thing this was some. Do you know what I mean? And that's what kind of surprised me.
This is
It's not good, because it just shows that the team is falling off further than we thought. If they feel like they need to go and bring in, they're not going out, like you said, going out and finding every Arsenal former player, manager, board member who was part of like the good days, and brought them in to communicate to the people that work there, or the fans, or the players. I mean, come on, you can ask Saka about the culture and history of Arsenal. I think, right? He's been doing this for his whole life. You're telling me you can't just go ask him?
Here's the
You talk
thing.
to Will Smith Rowe. You can talk.
This company was probably working at a tire company before that, or a coffee company before. Do you know what I mean? It
Well,
sounds a
here's
bit
the thing.
generic to me. You're going to
I
come in
was,
with a fucking overhead projector and slides and that, a fucking PowerPoint presentation.
I was
Victoria
Ireland.
Credit Concordia, and it's going to be like what?
So I was in Ireland the last couple of weeks, and they previewed the Liverpool City game, the big league game. Okay, what was striking was they showed the history of Liverpool and they showed the history of Manchester City. Guess what? Some of Liverpool's history was in black and white, and some of the City's history was not in black and white, and it was all in the last 20 years. So that's the kind of culture that Arsenal need to be pushing, is the history of the club. We're the first team in London to win the double. We have that history. We went unbeaten the whole season. So are
we being negative? Should we have an attitude of like, well, yeah, they're looking at everything. This is another tool. It could help us. Why shouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? Are we being too negative? To me, it reminds me of when Glenn Hoddle brought in Eileen Drury, the psychic, to talk to the England team.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with the Arsenal misfire. It just proves that KFC is so out of touch with the club and its supporters. And as Gary said, there's forums to talk about these things, but
I did get a snippet from the Athletic where they talk about this, and I can read the whole snippet.
Yeah, please, because I'm not seeing it.
It shouldn't take that long.
I'm too tight to subscribe.
I know somebody put it out there on Facebook, not Facebook, on Twitter. So I just put it into my notes here. But okay, so one of the things it says
David Austin, my man.
Yeah, it says so. One of the main problems identified in recent times has been the culture, and they are now trying to do something about it. The Athletic understands Arsenal have enlisted the help of consultancy firm People Made to embark upon what sources call a top-to-bottom cultural review of the club. The project, known internally as the Arsenal Way, has already begun and aims to hear from staff at all levels of the organization, identify what has gone wrong, and attempt to put things right. There is an acceptance that many factors Arsenal feel set them apart started to dissipate towards the end of Arsene Wenger's reign and during Unai Emery's period at the helm. Backed at ownership level, this is being led by Director Lord Harris, Chief Executive Enai, and Chief Commercial Officer Juliet Slot. Arteta, Adu, and Mertesacker are involved in what they hope will help bring a successful future. The process kicked off with a Be Together forum at the Emirates Stadium, and there are smaller sessions, some of which Arteta has attended, focus groups, individual meetings, and a survey. There are groups named after iconic figures, such as Rocky, with new images and messaging noticeable around club buildings designed to connect employees with Arsenal's history and values. People Made's research phase is happening until the summer, when the London-based company will report its findings and assist Arsenal in establishing a cultural direction for the years ahead.
So
basically, they're saying that they lost their culture from the end of the days of Wenger.
Some of this is at the feet of Arsene Wenger, I'm going to say.
I'd say it's at the feet of the fucking players, not Wenger.
He let some of these things happen on his watch, Tony. He let some of these players coast where, okay, top four was great to get for 22 years in a row, but we never pushed the boat out.
He's not in charge of a board and all the people that's been appointed.
After hearing Gary read that out, I'm kind of split, because there is a part of me that feels that an establishment that's been around for so long shouldn't have a problem maintaining the heritage, because that's what basically football clubs are all about, especially if you've been successful.
Yeah.
You want to promote that shit. If you ain't done fuck all, then there's nothing to talk about. I can imagine them getting fucking people coming into Tottenham, because they'd be like, right, we'll talk about your heritage. And they're like, we ain't got none. So, okay, fair enough. Here's our report. Win something. But, we've done shit. It's everywhere. But then there's another side of me That's like, okay, it takes balls sometimes to look inward and say, okay, there's a problem here. I drink too much. I smoke too much. I shag too much, whatever it might be. But you admit what that problem is, and you think, okay, you know what? I'm going to try and do something about it. I think it hurts us because we're Arsenal fans and we don't want to hear this. But I'm interested to see how this progresses. I want to see what they're called, made people. Sounds like the mafia, isn't it? I thought the only people that were made were people that were in the mafia. But I'm interested to see if they are going to release a report, what it says. And then at that point, you can judge and say, well, this was a fucking waste of time. This is just like some kind of a rebranding exercise. And we're now this and we're now that. Or it might be something that could be useful. So I'm going to hold my judgment, but I'm 50-50 on it. There's a part of me that's like, really? But there's another part that's like, well, it does take balls to like look inward and say, you know what, we're going to try and address something. I'd rather them try and admit it and address it than see it and turn a blind eye and think it will take care of itself.
Yeah, so I would say, Tony, there's two avenues of culture change. One is amongst the playing
also,
staff.
and I'm really glad that Lord Harris from Peckham is involved.
Lord Harris. Tony, there's two lines, I think, culture changes amongst the team itself and then amongst the club in general and its standing in the community.
I think most of it's just the club structure is what needs done, and the team itself, the culture has been bad forever. To me, it's much like last year, hiring a lawyer to go look into the transfer dealings, look at Pepe, look at all that. Nothing really ever came from that. We're still doing the same transfer business, not making money off players. To me, if you want to change the culture, you should have started with the manager, got a Simone, got a Vieira. There are 2 empty board seats. Those need replaced. You don't have a proper director of football. Fix that.
Board members, yeah.
Oh, Tony. You were doing
There's
so well.
all kinds
You
you
were
can
doing
do.
so well, Tony. And you have to go back.
Why not said, what is the culture at CFC? Winning, which comes from top down. Everyone is thinking of winning, and it's all to do mentality, winner's mentality, which comes from winning. I think they've been in 3. They're going to be in 3 FA Cup finals now, and they have not won an FA Cup final. Yeah, they've won the Champions League, but yeah.
But look at them now. They can't even afford EasyJet tickets to Malaga. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, it to me. Part of me is like,
Reap what you sow, right?
Yeah, part of me also thinks I don't really need to. Since this almost sounds like it's an internal problem, I don't feel like I need to know. And to me, it almost seems like they're just marketing. They're just doing some advertisement for People Made more than they are trying to improve their team, right? Because this is something that would look really bad. You're telling me you have this whatever $100 million pound team or whatever it costs, what is it worth? Almost 2 billion.
2 billion.
And you're telling me you don't have a culture, right? And they haven't necessarily changed the management, so all of a sudden it's just disappeared, right? Nah.
I've got visions of like fucking Gabrielle being like taken to like fine wine and classical music lessons, and he's like, "Oh yes, I do like Da Vinci. I do like some Beethoven after all." It's fucking culture, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
To me, it just sounds like part of the stadium makeover they're doing.
Culture,
the new crest and all that stuff.
Did this start in the last 12 years of Arsene Wenger? We're invincible. We get to a Champions League final, we lose the Champions League final, and we go trophyless for the best part of 10 years, win a couple of FA Cups, but then the focus is top four year after year, and eventually those targets degrade from a league to the Champions League to top 4 Europa League, and here we are. Many of the fans will say we're accepting mid-table mediocrity.
Got to be in it to win it. Any competition,
have we been sort of trained to expect less unless each year.
Well, if your goal is
No.
top 4, then you're already setting yourself low, right? Because the goal of every team.
And did it
I
start with
said this,
Arsene Wenger,
but I
Gary?
said this all the time. The goal of every team is to finish at the top of the table and win trophies, right? That is the goal of every team. Nobody goes out there going, you know what? I think we might get relegated this year. Nobody plans for that. They plan to succeed and do the best they can, and with the ultimate goal of finish at the top of the table, finishing with the trophy in their hand. That's what everybody's out there doing, no matter what level they're at. That's the
Yeah.
goal. And if you're planning not to get to the top of the table, then guess what? Not only one team gets to do it. So if your goal is 4th, then if you get 4th, you might have done all right, but more than likely you're not. And that's, you set your goals low and you strive for them. It means that you might get 4th. But if you set your goals all the way to the top and you strive for that, you have an opportunity maybe to still get into a good position. But the goal has to be finish at the top. And like Stan said, if the culture is already set in stone, right? How many trophies do we have? We have many, many, many trophies, right? Even a gold one. Right?
We're their biggest
So,
team in England.
so what more do you when you here's our culture. Look in that trophy cabinet. Pick out the 13 or 14 FA Cups, whatever number of Premier League titles, League One
13.
titles you have, right? 13 of those. Look, that's what we do. That's what we do. We do that.
14, Ray. 14.
We work for those
14 FA Cups, 13 leagues.
we work for those 13 trophies. That's what we're going for every season. That's what Arsenal does. We've done it in the past. I expect to do it in the future, right? And that's what the culture is.
That's why
everybody here, this is what we're all striving for. We all want to be getting in those buses and driving through the city of London, right? With the fans screaming at us. That's what we do. That's what we do. That's the goal, right? The players want to do it. I know the players want to do it. The fans want to be out there. That's what we do, and that's our ultimate goal, and that's the kind of culture we want to bring. That we're always striving to be. We want to be in that bus, right? We want to be in that bus, screaming with our fans.
We want to be Jack Wilshere talking about that team. Tony?
Last year we had Arteta and Edu saying top 4 was a goal. This year they never said. We've had fans all during the Wenger era. Let's finish outside the Champions League so we can win the league. Now no European football at all. Now we're struggling to get a European spot. There's no excuses. We should be going to win the league, but instead we're just ho-humming along, struggling, not doing near good enough.
But we've got half a squad.
I think he's talking
Who's
about
fucking
a
false
bigger
hat?
picture.
Who sold all the players? Or
But-
bought out our contracts?
Yeah, but I mean, some of those players that we sold, they just weren't good enough to play at Arsenal.
You gotta fucking replace them sometimes, Stan. You
But-
just don't keep selling and selling and
They weren't good enough.
loaning and
They weren't good enough. Ainsley Maitland-Niles was not the second coming.
No, but think about this. This is what we're
they're
doing,
better
right?
players than
This is
we
almost
had when we were
this
in
is
the
almost like we're
Champions
doing. We're going
League
downhill.
all the time.
We're going
Bamian
down-
didn't want to be here.
No, we're
He didn't
going
want to play
downhill.
for us.
No, think about it. We're going downhill. Our brakes look like they're not going to work. They're not going to work for us. So we take the brakes out, we throw them away, and then we order brakes from Amazon and expect them to get it to us before we hit the bottom of the bridge, right? Before we hit the bottom of the hill. That's what we're doing. You fix the thing. While you fix it, you take the thing out, you bring something else in. That's
Or
how
you
it's supposed to
upgrade
work.
to Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and you're still drawing down the hill. You're going at a fast speed, right? Trying to put your brakes on so you can stop at the bottom. I mean, it's for me. I don't know if it's a good analogy, but we're not.
Yeah.
We're just doing it.
I liked it.
Yeah, but we have to fix the whole. We have to fix
You have to
things.
hit the
right?
Hang on,
Not to
Ray's
hit
going
right.
to start roller coasters in a minute. I can feel
Oh,
roller
no,
coasters.
sorry, did I start that?
coming.
Oh,
Or
sorry.
eggs in baskets.
Eggs
This
in-
is my
oh,
favourite one.
yeah.
I'm the egg and basket guy. But I said at the beginning of the season that me personally, my goal was a minimum of 6 or wherever the position is that gets you into the Euro League. The Euro, whatever you call it, the Euro fucking
Europa.
Yes, that one proper.
The proper
Obviously,
Europa.
obviously, I would love us to get into the Champions League. Obviously,
Yeah.
But I look at it this way, right? If 6th is the place that gets you into the Europa, and last season we finished in 8th, and he's invested, there's about what 220 million into the team. I don't think it's too much to ask for a 2-place improvement from 8th to 6th with 220. That should be achievable. And when I think of it that way, that's why if we don't get that and we finish 8th or 9th, or even if we finish 7th, I will be disappointed because he's had 220 million, and that's not, that's good money. That's good money. We should be able to get 2-place increase with that.
Yeah. And look, on the back of what we've done this season, Stan, I'll go to you then, Tony. I know you're waiting patiently. Before Chelsea, we lost to that last 3 games in terrible circumstances. We opened the season, believe it or not, it did count. I'll say it now. The first 3 games of the season in terrible fashion, but everything in between has been pretty decent apart from that Everton and United game. We do owe United a beating. Outside of anything else, we did lose at Old Trafford, so we have to get revenge there. Tony, go ahead.
Where Stan's point makes no sense to me on sending out these players. During Wenger's era, we're qualifying in the Champions League with teams with Denilson,
Terrible
Scorsali,
team, Stan. Terrible team.
Chamak, Denilson.
But also the teams around
Tailor.
us. So it was a different era.
Yep.
It was a
Less
different
money.
era, Tony.
Less money in the Premier League back then.
And Tony makes a good point. And
It wasn't that long ago. It's like
Tony, you make a good
8
point
years ago.
because if this is Project Youth, that's what we're calling it, right? We're in Project Youth at the moment, but we're talking about it as if, like, for Arsenal, this is something that we've never done before. And as Tony quite rightly pointed out, Arsene Wenger, he did go to Project Youth, if you remember, with a lot of young players, like he mentioned, Denilson, Song, Kieran Gibbs,
Lab.
a lot of these players, and we gave them high wages so that they couldn't be poached, because they were supposed to be the next best thing since sliced bread for the next 10 years. It didn't work out. All I'm saying, I'm not saying that it's going to happen this way. I'm not saying that these players are of that standard. I am just pointing out the fact that we have gone down this path before. And when we went down this path before, it didn't get us to what it is that we want. So, I'm just making that point.
Yeah. Let me get through a few comments. Arsenal Misfit, responsibility of preserving the heritage is that of the owners, but our owners have been largely absent because they didn't care, and it's destroyed the club's identity. Same at City, the culture is winning even after winning 5-0. Pep is still thinking of how they could improve with passing and false nines as well in the Champions League final. Agreed, Arsenal, Misfit, Kroenke needs to take the culture and heritage lessons, get Kenny Ken on his case. Yep. Top 4 isn't winning. It is mediocrity celebrating a losing position. Top 4, I think, maybe was created for that. Those television make some of these mid-table fixtures more competitive,
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, isn't Perry Groves does he did for the tours, right? He's already in the building, dude. Have him walk over to the employees and give them a tour as well. I mean, this whole thing just stinks of, just like you said. For me, the more and more I think about it, it just stinks of just trying to push somebody else's product out there to make some money for them, and maybe you get a kickback like that. So
real quick, let alone as Stan I think said earlier this week, if you're an Arsenal player and you want to leave the club, you just put like a PR video together and put it out there. Granit Xhaka had one while I was in Ireland, and Eddie had one, and he backed it up with a couple of goals, so we'll give him that.
And Lacazette, I just found it weird that in the space of like a week or whatever, 3 interviews come out, and they're all by contentious players. And what I mean by that is two of them looks like they're leaving in Lacazette and Eddie don't have a future with Arsenal. And the other one, which is Xhaka, who splits the fan base for whatever reason. You know, we all know about the Xhaka story. And all three, you know, came out. And I have to say as well, and I was speaking to you about this, Ray, when we chat offline and that, looking at that Xhaka one, when I looked at it properly, the high production on that, just little things like, if you notice that every time they were talking to Xhaka and he was directly on camera, did you notice that he was always in black and white? Yeah, any other kind of footage other than Xhaka was in color. And they had this ominous audio. It's like a soundtrack. It was like a ooh every time he was talking to make it dramatic. And I was like, this should be on Netflix. And I don't see why they had to go down that route for the message that he was trying to talk about. This ominous high production thing. I didn't. Yeah. That turned me right off that they were going down that route. I mean, I'm like, is this a Granit Xhaka interview or was it the newest trailer for the Batman? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then like another thing we've talked about,
the Lacazette one.
Players who want to leave to play in Europe. Well, you're already at a club and you could compete to be in the Champions League. If you want to play in Champions League, score a few goals, right, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, he's been part of the squad and he hasn't helped us the last 2 years. That's why we're sitting where we are today.
This
so
target of 66 points I'd be banging on about for 2 years now.
I mean, is he really gonna? Is there anything you guys saw from him that, all right, Lacazette goes to any of these teams and he's going to be better looking out there on the pitch?
He'll grab a goal here and there. They'll have an odd group game. His team will win a game.
Yeah.
Is it Leon? Maybe Leon is the.
He's not a number one striker for anybody, right?
Yeah. Maybe Leon is
barely a number two. So I mean, no matter when he did that, because some say he probably didn't do this just yesterday, but whenever he did it, he was still leader at this team, right? So you're doing this interview basically saying you're leaving to get Champions League, and then we're supposed to believe that you're trying to help us get Champions League. And this is the thing. Arteta, once again, puts his trust in players, and this is what they do.
He's a free agent.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. He's talking about leaving. And he's supposed to be the leader. So mentally in his head, he's already out the door.
The club told him they weren't signing.
You're not listening to what I have to say.
I believe he's going somewhere that's a step up.
No, but what I'm saying is he's doing that, but meanwhile, you want him to be professional, trying to get you to where you need to go as a team. And we're leaning on him and giving him the leadership. He takes the armband, and he's supposed to be leading these men into the same situation that he's talking about.
I think you can do both.
Going to it. I don't think you need to say it in a report.
Everybody knows that his obvious answer is obviously, we've still got games to play at the end of the season. I'm the captain of Arsenal. We'll focus ourselves on trying to get into Europe. That's the answer.
He's good.
That's it. That's the sort of thing you say, right?
We don't need to know he's leaving to go play Champions League football. Yeah. We don't need to know
that.
The
thing is, they asked him specifically if he wanted to be in Europe.
He doesn't have to answer.
Why not? Why not 66 points? That's the mark I've set for top four. Typically, that may get you close to top four. Emery got 70 points.
Typically it's 70 points.
70. It wasn't 73. So, 18 wins, 11 losses is not great. Yeah, we're almost at the point where we've lost as many games as we've won. So we're either beating up small teams or getting beat up. Not much in between. And this is what we've been talking about all season. Fine margins, beat the teams you're supposed to be beating. The Southamptons and Brightons of this world is who we should be beating. Now we're going to have to do a little bit the tough way, right, Tony?
Yep.
And we started with a win against Chelsea, right? We know our games. Okay, so real quick, we're going to round this out. I don't think we're going to go through the Premier League fixtures because we've gone a little bit long already. But Tony, we know what we need to do. We know the teams we have to play. This is Spurs. And can Spurs be Spursy, Tony?
They can be. You don't know what you're see with them right now. You see, the first one should be a win.
I don't know about that. Brentford have won 3 in a row.
Leicester is one of the hottest clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool's on form.
Yep.
You don't know what the fuck you're going to get out with us. Burnley's been on form. Norwich, nobody gives a shit about.
I think
They're horrible.
Gary, they got to drop some points in these 4 games. Burnley and Norwich look like tap-ins for them at the end of the season.
Yeah, or they may drop those ones depending on how they've been playing. But no, we have to win our games, so it doesn't. Until we win our games, it doesn't really matter what they do, right?
Yeah.
So if we don't win our games, it won't matter because right now we're drawn. So it'd be nice. We need to. Right now we need to finish 1 point ahead of them. So
yep,
we gotta outdo them on at least one weekend.
We got to better what they do exactly, yeah. And Liverpool looks like a loss to them, Stan. And then we're looking at the game with Arsenal. We're gonna have to do something there, and Brentford or Leicester in these next 2 weekends.
Something that I've learned about this season that. Because we come in here and we always have these little chats. We look at a little cluster of games and we look at how many points we think that we're going to get or the opposition might get. It just hasn't been panning out that way, right? I mean,
our crystal ball is fucking shattered, Stan.
Just in the previous fixtures that you had up, the 3 teams in there. I mean, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Leicester were the ones that jump out at me that are so unpredictable. We blow hot and cold. Us 3 teams. Look at Tottenham. They've had some results where they've gone and they've torn apart Manchester City, and you've got Conte talking about how he loves coming into training and it's the best thing since sliced bread. And in the next game, I can't remember who it was when they got absolutely whumped by someone that they shouldn't have. Who was it? It was well, this is unacceptable. I think I should be leaving. Blow hot and cold. Same as Leicester. Blow hot and cold, same as us. And we know why we blow hot and cold, because we've got that young profile, which means there's going to be inconsistencies. We've got a problem at striker, which means inconsistencies, which means our results aren't concrete.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hot and cold blowing. Look at Norwich in there. Didn't Norwich just recently have a really good game where they won a game which you would have thought, really?
Beat Burnley, right?
Yeah, games where you think, oh, well, I wouldn't have called that. So I'm just trying to say that, some of these little snippets that we look at, it's good to dissect them a little bit, but you just can't call it.
I like the soundbite. Woo!
You can't. Look at Newcastle sat in there. Everton, we couldn't get we couldn't get anything against Everton.
It's kind of a repeat of 6 years ago when Leicester won.
It's a very weird season this year. Meanwhile, you've got West Ham, who are focusing on Europe, which could be a help to us because we play them in between 2 games, right?
West Ham, and they're going to be focused.
We play them in a semi-final or a quarter-final.
Yeah, they got a semi-final against Lyon, so
could be a rubber luck.
They're going to probably give us a reasonable team to play against, an easier team at the London Stadium.
Yeah, and they play Chelsea on Sunday, so
that's it. That's where it's going to come at.
So Chelsea,
Chelsea going to take their ire out on them, right? They're going to switch off the league completely, focus on the Europa League semi-final with Lyon, and against us, we should pick up 3 points at West Ham.
Can't wait.
Gary,
can't wait.
As Stan said, Gary, Man United, there's really nothing to fear with Man United on Saturday, right?
Well, nothing to fear, but I guess there is, because you don't know what we're going to do, and they could play lights out, right? They have beaten teams that we didn't expect, right? They beat City, right? We haven't beaten City.
I don't know if Man United beat City.
I thought they beat. Oh, is it Tottenham that beats City? No, Tottenham beat City twice. But I thought United beat somebody that we were surprised that they maybe they beat. I don't know, but I thought they've had a surprise win, but they've been porous this year anyway. So you know what, I have a feeling with Ten Hag and Ronaldo, if he coming back with a little bit more, coming back with a different kind of energy, right? It could be one of those games, as somebody said, it could be a banana peel for us because same thing as like Brentford,
Are you
right?
talking about when they beat Spurs?
Maybe it was when they beat
They
Spurs.
beat
Then,
Spurs
yeah,
3-2.
and then they lost the
Ronaldo
next.
had
Then they
first
lost
goal.
the next game to somebody poor. But
Yeah,
I'm feeling it, man. I'm just
no,
feeling it.
no, but
lost to Everton.
yeah. So they lost. Yeah. So look at that. So they
Yeah,
are up and down, just like
like
we
us.
are, right?
Hmm.
But we need to take what we just did and do it again and bring that same energy. I don't even care. Like, bring that same energy. We're at home. The fans going to be on our side. Like I said, put our foot on their neck and keep it there for the entire
Hmm.
game. Don't let them
Yeah.
get up. Right? Nope. You're not getting up. You're not getting up. And continue to put the pressure on. That's what we need to do. Especially if these players got anything from that last game in terms of like a reason to come out and play a better game, right? They should not have beaten us the first time we played them, and they shouldn't beat us this time. All right. So
Things we should have learned from yesterday's game. Persist with Elneny in midfield. Persist with Eddie up front, right? Tony, Man United. Harry Maguire, come on. Eddie should have a field day with Harry Maguire, right?
You never know what you're gonna get with them. You don't know what you're gonna get with us. And when we play them, you never know what you're gonna get. So
All right. Should we leave it there? Or any final thoughts?
both their forms are off. We're even worse than their form.
The form table. We're not looking at the
Do you
form
know who's?
table.
I'll
Listen,
guess who's number one in the form table. I bet you none of you will guess.
Let me see.
if Man United are going to
Guess, right? You don't have to look it up.
there's
Come on.
Liverpool, man, on my.
Liverpool,
No, it's
yeah.
not.
if they're going to field like Harry Maguire
Brentford.
and say Phil Jones, it should be a field day. I mean, Eric Bailey can't get in that team. I don't know why, and they're drawing to the well of like Phil Jones,
Yeah.
Lindelof as well, another one.
Yeah.
Not past it, finished.
I think Tony, talking about form cycles, Brentford have won 4 of their last 5, but I think so many things just go in sequence of 3 games and then they change. I hope it continues against Tottenham this weekend. They drop points.
Even a quick glance at it, it's like little clusters of 3 for a lot of teams.
But Gary, I think we've been good when we've had first go at the weekend. Get that win, and then look at what's happening after that. I think
No,
we've been good in that situation.
we need to do that because I don't like the way we've been starting in these games.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, we've been starting too slow, and letting teams think they have a chance.
Yeah.
And we've been paying for it. Cannot do that. Need to put some pressure on them and take what they give us. And like you said, Harry Maguire seems like he will give us an opportunity. We need to put some pressure on their back line and see if they fold.
Yeah. Mo Salah had a field day, so maybe Mo Elneny will do the same thing. And Stan, maybe we'll see the Edneny effect again on Saturday.
I'm just looking in the chat box, and you're not says all I learned was Elneny is the creative spark, not Odegaard. And again, I'm like, we must have been watching different games then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Odegaard had an assist.
he was in there. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
even though I don't like to talk about pre-assists, he was in there with some of the build-up to the games. I mean,
you're Canadian, you can talk about hockey assists.
In fact, look at Elneny, and the nutmeg that Xhaka has starts with Elneny winning the ball on the other side of that penalty box. But yeah, listen, some people will only see what they want to see, right, Tony?
Yep.
Couldn't resist. Sorry. Any final thoughts, Tony?
To me, we had a shit luck in our games. We didn't play near good enough. All the teams around us have been dropping points, which has been nice. So top 4 is still ours to lose, really. We just have to go out there and play hard and win.
I'll save some of this for Saturday. We'll have a pre-game show. Hopefully, some of you can join me. It won't be Stan. It'll be too goddamn early for you, Stan.
Yeah.
Might
I
be
don't
too
know,
goddamn
but-
early for me, too, Ray.
I want to watch the boxing, and the boxing's on early here as well.
Oh, you might be available. Okay.
No, I'm going to get up. I think probably get up, watch the boxing, then watch the football and replay. Because the boxing's about 8 a.m. here. Tyson Fury, Dillian White.
Yeah. When we look at the season, it's important. We're going to finish at a certain position, but it's important to understand how we get to that position. Say if we finish in 5th, right? Haven't been in 4th, that looks bad. But if we'd been in 8th place and we finished in 5th place, it looks better. Perception is 9/10, right?
Yep.
All right, Gary. I can see Gary rolling his eyes. Time to go.
Gary says, say for your final word, Gary.
Time for some
What?
nose bag.
Alonso's going to join us on Saturday. It'll be too early. Maybe Gary. I don't know. Maybe Gary. will be
Fucking
with
wrap
us.
it up, Gary.
I'm doing a watch along, so I don't know what time that starts. So
Pre-game show. It's always before. You'll be good. You'll be good to go.
I'm hosting it, so it's not the same.
Uh-oh. All right. All right. Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
Thanks, Tony, for joining. Gary, thanks
I'm
for
not
joining.
fucking pulling
Thank
a
you,
parachute
everybody in the
out.
chat. Thank you for joining
Let's
us.
get up this
And-
flight.
Up the show with
Thanks
us.
for joining, Stan. And we're
The
out of
plane's
here.
running out of gas, Ray. Hurry up.
Take care, everyone. Come on, you Gunners. We got 3 points yesterday. All our troubles were so far away. Thanks, everyone. Good
You
night.
finally got it right.